Good evening, citizens.
Good evening, citizens.
Good evening, citizens.
Oh, I love the new intro. This is great.
Are we all allowed to join in now? We know it.
Yeah, we are indeed. And welcome to E2 of...
E2. Oh, I thought we were echoing.
I thought we were doing Hoist the Colours.
Okay.
Oh.
You know what? I'm not gonna
No,
cancel the recording. We're gonna leave this.
I'm gonna say something here, which is in all light fun, and we love him for it. But we're pulling an Ollie Facey, and we're releasing things in order, but very delayed.
Yeah, extremely delayed.
But they're really great, and everyone's waiting for it, right?
Well,
That's the point.
I have. I'm not even joking. I've had some sarcastic, but still very much categorized as hate mail on Facebook around when is Saturday and Sunday coming out. So this is Saturday. Please don't hurt my family.
I mean, I think it's hard to imagine that any of us are actually busy, but apparently
Oh, I
we
was
are.
gonna say, don't hurt Chris's family. It is entirely Chris's fault.
Oh, it is Chris's fault.
No, I was putting them under the bus, Matty. Come on.
Don't hurt my family. Wink.
So please don't hurt me. I have a wife and kids. Take them instead.
Take that. Wait, no.
Oh, classic Simpsons.
Right.
Giving us-
Okay. So let's now imagine that we actually
Hi,
did
everyone.
record this 4 weeks ago. No, hang on, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago, it would have been on field. That would have been fun.
Really?
Anyway,
Oh my god. It
Yeah.
feels both longer and like less time away than that. That's really weird.
so where do we get to? Like Saturday?
We got to the end of Friday and we called it there, and then we had 3 weeks of not doing anything live.
Yeah, I
related.
mean, as we all agreed at the time, Friday was a whole event itself. So, do we
Yeah,
really
it
need
was.
to talk about the rest?
People are just being greedy now. We gave them a whole event's
Yeah.
worth of content. Soul
Come on,
cried
guys.
3 times. What more do you want?
Not on the podcast.
Well, on the field.
Well,
Who
you
cares
have to
about
go
what
and
happens on
listen
the
to find
podcast?
out. Come on, you gotta give some mystery.
Oh, sorry.
It's no issue. It's been out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
So,
Alright then.
All right then. Start it. Okay,
What
so
next?
Saturday, E2 2023.
Mhm.
Monstering. We begin the day as
but
monsters.
why were we monstering?
I don't know, Sol. Matty, can you
Like,
tell us?
Well,
No,
listeners.
like, why were we monstering?
No, but I'm sorry, I
Say
just
that
love the
again.
way that you said that, so like Chris had missed a cue on some scripts that we don't have. And why were we monstering? Keep to the script, Christopher. Yes, Father. We were monstering because Black Scar are Merc Banner now, and lo and behold, that backfired for Navarre if they were hoping we would be with them, and spectacularly worked out for us because we got to go and fight with the Orcs on Sunday. And personally, I like fighting on Sundays.
So Sunday was fun. I enjoyed that.
Mm.
But we're on Saturday, and that
Yeah.
means we're
Just
Orky
skipped a
boys.
whole day.
Well, some of us are Orky
Skip
boys.
more.
Some of us are refs.
Yeah, I was
boo.
volunteer reffing again.
You,
In
you
Chris's
we were
hat.
this close to bringing you along.
I know.
This
I know. Yeah, it's true. Actually, I was really torn whether to monster with you guys or to ref.
for
and
the
in end,
audio
it was only
listeners
because
there,
my-
it was about an
What?
inch apart, my index finger and thumb, when I was saying
Oh,
this
thanks,
much.
Phil.
Just letting you know.
Good
Yeah, and
for the audio listeners and us because we can't see you either.
Well, on the on Patreon, you have a special link to the visual versions of this podcast.
We don't, and please stop texting random numbers.
Oh my god, yeah. Sorry, yeah, that's really important. Really, really important. At the end of last episode, we told you to text a number for merch or whatever it was.
We told you.
That we
Sorry,
as
own
in
up
the
to your
Shattersong.
mistakes, Chris.
Shut the fuck up, alright?
It's either
Aye.
the fault of yours, or it's the fault of me for saying that no one would be stupid enough to do so.
Yeah, so
Jury's still
anyway.
out there.
Anyway.
You absolutely know who you are if you did this.
Yeah, you know who you are, but for the rest of you listening in, somebody did it. And they got a threatening message back saying, text this number might cost an unlimited amount.
Yeah, it was
And-
alarming.
Yeah, very alarming text to get, so don't actually text Shattersong to 069069 because something horrible might happen to you.
Yes.
We don't know what,
And
because
mostly you probably just get charged an amount of money.
I don't think
And it doesn't
that
go to
listener
us.
got charged, but it was
No,
just
it's a
warning.
threat, but like it could have happened. You never know.
Yeah, but of course by making stuff up, we accidentally find a threatening text service.
Mm. That's very band Shattersong, to be fair.
Yeah,
Very
it's on
bad.
brand.
It's on brand.
Yeah.
So
that
Chris,
Yes.
not talking about the ref here. Were you orking? I can't remember. It's been that
I was a thrall, because I just got to be blunt.
Bloomin' warm.
I was weak. The flesh is weak. The iron is strong.
The body was also not very willing.
No, I was. So I guess it's between Friday and Saturday. It's technically part of the Saturday episode, but I was up until 4 a.m. in the morning on the Friday night with some other
Close to 4 a.m.
citizens.
in the afternoon.
Uh,
I'm being facetious. Carry on.
I just realised too. See, Matty, you can't bully people who are less intelligent than you, okay? Because it's bullying, all right? Now, at 4 a.m. is, if you didn't know, near the sunrise, but not quite there, and it means you have very little nap time between going to bed and waking up.
We'll come back to that later.
So yeah, yeah, I was not feeling great, so I still turned up to Monster, and I was a thrall for the day, but I did bring my longbow, so it's actually kind of worked out because the Jotun don't use bows, but the thralls do, the Yagara, so I was a Yagara archer for the day, or as we said in the queue, an archer. So that was a lot of fun.
An archer.
No marcher bullshit.
Literally
Okay.
seconds after
No
he'd said that,
bullshit.
about 30, 45 seconds afterwards, someone just went archer. And it was
I think
brilliant.
now, what was it? Was it? I think at E2 that we actually had a conversation about like, why do they always say that? Like, what does that actually even mean? Like, what is comedy marcher bullshit, as opposed to just regularly having fun? Like, and I think it was something to do with the brief. I can't remember.
Brief, and it's to do with
the Jotun brief. They are Jotun.
Yes, they should be following Jotun brief, and you've got to also remember all of your hearth magic. So unless you are a part of Marcher hearth magic, you technically can't be doing any Marcher bullshit because it's within your hearth magic. It's an interesting one. It's more of a game.
They essentially have given up. The Yagara can be. They're just like human thralls that have become accepted into the ranks, not accepted as Jotun, but accepted into the ranks of the Jotun. But they are fundamentally no longer whatever original nation they were, half magic-y wise.
Like when we swapped,
which is why the
from
refs
Urzen
are
to
always
Novar.
like, no comedy marcher bullshit, because they're not marchers anymore.
True, very true.
Makes sense.
Doesn't stop them.
Doesn't stop them, especially when the marchers are playing them.
Oh,
I've noticed. The marchers are worst at doing that.
I was saying to the 4 a.m. gang how excited I was to shoot at, well, them, and also the rest of the people we will recognise in Devar, and just pincushioning them with arrows, and more on that later. But
first opportunity to go against our own, in a way.
This is the first time we have fought Navarre.
Yeah, ever. Literally ever.
Yeah.
Super cool. And we had loads of archers. Because we had the marchers as Yagara, and we had 50 archers in a single block.
I think it was actually more than that on the field. I remember hearing something like 55 to 60 when they were counting everyone in during getting all the monsters together. And man, it looked like a huge block.
Yeah, we could actually do volley fire on the main field. It's like front rank kneeling, second rank firing over the top.
Are you allowed to, though? Because I thought you were only allowed to loose an arrow if you aim at a specific target.
Yeah, that's the thing. So that got raised when we were all shading under a tree. And it was basically that you would pick a target and shoot, and if you didn't, you just wouldn't fire.
Okay, yeah.
But it looked very thematic when there was, again, for Warhammer fans out there, the Bretonian Bowman box, that cover up was pretty much us for the first 5 minutes. And then after that, cohesion broke down, and I went friend hunting.
That sounds such an ominous snigger.
Despite the heat, I still put an Orc mask on, and my Gambeson, and my chainmail. I was heavy Jotun boy.
Oh my god, you did? That's insane.
It was, honestly, if you have the right... If you manage your layers properly, manage your food intake, manage your water intake, you can cope. It's like, it is doable, but you must get all of those bits correct, because otherwise you are very much at risk of keeling over.
Yep.
Yeah, there were quite a few
fine.
heat strokey people. I think I've never seen the Imperials make it from the field to the forest so fast as on both main conjunctions.
I was so happy
the incentive was big. The incentive was great.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how a lot of our fight happened. We were we managed to get put into a block. We as Black Skull
You were
weren't
right at the front, weren't you? At the
full
beginning?
strength. We weren't EMUing, but we sort of were. Bit of both. Oh no, we've got a Druge EMU, haven't we? Not a Jotun one.
Yeah, you guys are kind of blobbing. I found Tiki just before the heroes came through the gate, so I knew roughly where blobs of you
actually. There's some PD opportunities coming out about EMUs, but I'll talk about that probably next time if it happens at E3. Yeah, it's very cool.
That'll be fun. That is cool.
So yeah,
you guys, I remember you coming up on as I was standing near like the gate-ish before people were coming in, and I remember seeing you guys all go past and not recognizing you immediately. You just all look damn cool, you know. And I was like, yeah, there go my lot. They're cool.
I can't fully remember. It was 4 weeks ago. But what I do remember is it was quite a bit of carnage on the field. And then finally, it was rough. It was really rough. But some good scrapping. And then, as you said, like we pretty much sped into the woods as fast as we could.
Now the Jotun don't like the heat either.
No, not at all.
There's one more thing, I guess, before we get into the blow by blow of the battle. There's one more thing about the particular Yagara I was playing, and my name was Caleb. I think Willowmere or something like that. And Caleb had a very emotional and deeply touching letter to his wife on him. I don't know if you two got a chance to read it when I was writing it back at camp.
Oh, yeah. No, in my head this happened at E1. This is kind of that's so weird. Did you do this twice?
I think I've definitely made backstory for my monsters before, but I've never written a letter.
Maybe it's just one of those weird deja vu-y things.
Yeah, or maybe I said I was going to do it and then didn't have time, but this time I did.
Yeah.
So I sat down and wrote a letter that, in essence, was writing to my dear wife Karen, and said, thanks, implying those previous letters, saying, thank you, Karen, I know you're really struggling, but thank you so much for looking after the kids while I do this. I'm earning more, money for us so we can pay for our son's medicine, and I'm so glad that our daughter's standing up to the bullies at the academy and stuff like that. Really, troubles at home kind of shit. And the idea was to make sure that when Caleb died and someone I recognized came up, and if they looted me, I would give them the letter. And it went swimmingly.
Oh my god. Oh dear, you're going to start a Yagara rights movement or something ridiculous.
It's a little bit later in the blow to blow when the letter gets pulled out, but yeah, that's an important part for Caleb today.
I feel like we can skip most of, as we said, like the field happened very quickly. So unless there's anything else on the field, it was into the woods. And it was starting to feel quite a bit like the Druge fight of E1, where we were doing a lot of retreating, and they were stomping us a little bit until they weren't, and there was just this quick switch of control as the Jotun had managed to kind of regroup themselves, prepare themselves, and then it was just some good fighting. The Imperials got split into, I think, almost 3 groups across the field. So yeah, kind of bisected or trisected across the forest. And if I recall, most of Black Scar's group were pushing up kind of the left-hand side as you're going into the forest. A lot of skirmishy fighting.
Oh, nice. That's the type you like. I remember distinctly that there were so many times in that forest where I would sort of turn around and be like, okay, the monsters are here and the players there. And then 3 seconds later, it felt like 3 seconds later, I'd be like, okay, now the players are behind me and the monsters, what? It just felt
was
like
so
there were
much
no real
movement.
lines. It was kind of cool. I was like, yeah, you just gotta keep watching your back. You've got no choice.
Yeah. And yeah, it was really quite fun. Seeing all of the people that you recognize from your nation and others and going, "Ooh, I get to fight these this time," you know?
Yeah.
I think it was more obvious for a lot of our thralls or Yagara, because obviously they're pretty recognizable. I don't know if you know that Fizz reps look very similar when playing different characters.
It's startling, isn't it? Uncanny.
Yeah.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah.
But I at least had an orc mask on. But you can tell. You can still tell.
Oh yeah. I got fucked up a lot in that fight in a good way. Because I'm gonna say it, I was deliberately hunting Navarre in particular, to show my face and get some shots off. I think as they came through on the gates and went into the woods as they want to do, I kind of walked over there by myself, and there was literally no Jotun there. I asked one of the refs, "Is this area in play?" And they were like, "Yep, it is." So I go in, I kind of try and skirmish. I fire an arrow, miss, and I think it's Kit at this point just rushes me because my foot's still recovering from Tough Mudder at that point. I'm very slow, and they just beat the shit out of me in front of like 100 Navarre.
One single
Deserved.
thrall.
Yeah, it
Deserved.
was a death born of overconfidence, I think, and ran off behind the trees, found some archer buddies, and then we got back in and started shooting. I can happily say there are people I recognise name by name. I hit at least 16 of you, if not more, across that fight. Some shots
Nicely
were a
done.
bit lame, like hitting you in the greaves and stuff like that. But there was one particularly good one from a citizen that I shall only refer to as Cheeks because, well, Cheeks knows. But this is the latter stage of the battle after we've been pushed off the fort, which wasn't even an objective. And I think this is maybe a minute before or after you go on your rampage, Sol. And
Okay, well,
What?
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Wow, I missed something.
There were some fun bits of this battle. You said you were keeping, you were taking a lot of hits, you getting rolled over a lot.
Yeah.
I still play my orcs. Like I'm there to have a good time. I'm there to taunt the enemy, and I did a lot of taunting. There was a lot of people I was seeing and calling them out, calling the Navarre some Imperial Druge. It was a good time. They knew what was going on. There was one point in the battle where there was a lot of gorse in front of us, and some refs kind of made the call of let's not fight over this. But it meant that we were standing about 10 meters away from each other, just yelling abuse. It was brilliant. So, not all lines in the fight are physical ones. So it was really cool. There was also
Are you saying that you were doing emotional damage?
I was doing emotional damage.
Damage to the
I hope so.
Imperials.
That was the aim.
Yeah.
Matty, if I recall, this is I'm going to ask you on behalf of the refs. I believe this fight was actually a pretty safe fight, all things considered.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had had many problems at all within that. It felt much more safe than the E11. I've
got to be honest. It was very good. There have been a couple of not like changes, but there had been some revamps and going over some of the rules. Some of the systems are just being tightened up back end, but everyone was just generally quite good. I mean, obviously heat stroke was everywhere. And there were a few little injuries, but I think everyone was worried by how many archers there were, but everyone in the archery team was so good. And every single person that I had to approach to be like, hey, just be aware like this or that. Yeah, it was overall very, very good. I was surprised.
The only reason I bring it up is there was obviously a few incidents, but all were handled perfectly. Like no one was actually heavily injured. The Grub, who was my orc in this one, didn't actually die throughout, which was also good fun. Got very close, but I didn't actually die. But there was one point where after the shouting match, we pushed back onto the flank, and there was a couple of us fighting a little bit too far over that The rest decided to call, as I accidentally then knocked his glasses off. So Grub and this Navari who'd lost their glasses spent some time searching for the glasses while the rest of them were fighting. So
Well, it wouldn't
not
be
only
honourable,
you've got the
would it?
physical lines or the emotional lines, you've got the helpful lines as well.
You know what? You've got to build them up to really bring them down.
Exactly.
And it
And he
wouldn't be
became my
honourable.
nemesis throughout. I kept finding the guy and pointing at him, and he knew who I was, and I'd go for him. It was great. It happened like 5 times during that fight.
Oh, that's
That's
awesome. An actual nemesis.
I actually had a nemesis. It was great.
Oh, brilliant.
If it happens again, you can do the same
I
thing.
know. Knock his glasses off.
Yeah, go for the glasses.
Win the fight.
Oh, you know what I was thinking when you mentioned that your character was called, your thrall was called Caleb, Chris, is that was one of the names of our infamous Quiet Glade and Tharunin survivors.
It was.
Who are still in Tharunin.
More funny.
Ooh.
Yeah, and we should figure out what the surrounding territories are, and if there are any battles that have thralls in any of those territories.
We bring the family on.
Bring the family back.
Well, there is going to. I mean, we've been blessed in the
And
last couple
Barons,
of days with
right?
some wins. Yeah, so
Yeah, the Barons are next through now, and I always forget.
the family might show up for that. The leaves of Paytat, perhaps. Who knows?
Maybe we've got to do that.
Absolutely.
But
I think
yeah,
that would be
so
very amusing.
Chris, just before you get to the sniping of cheeks or whatever we were talking about,
The cheeky shot. I call it.
yeah, the fight was going really well. As I said, it was really hot, taking quite a few breaks, which was another reason why I probably didn't die, was because I kept going back to healers to get a drink, to get to just have a breather.
Clever.
Because
Clever.
especially with an orc mask, I don't think I've ever had the sensation of about 2 milliliters of liquid across my face.
Oh god.
But that's what that
Disgusting.
fight was.
Are they giving out water again now? I actually don't know that.
I did
Are they?
see it on the Sunday before we went through the gate. There was just people giving out water.
Shout out
Good,
to
okay. Makes
Tiki
sense.
or
Oh,
Henry,
yeah.
sorry, of our group, who basically just played Water Thrall both fights and was very responsible. Honestly, saved us. It was
Yep.
brilliant. Carried like
Yeah,
a
because
backpack
you
round with all
can
of our
shout as
stuff
long
in.
as you like about people bringing water and everything and remembering to drink, but it's quite hard, especially on the battles, to actually have an icy water bottle on you.
Mm-hmm.
It is physically difficult
Mm.
to carry those things and to get one that's going to fit and be the right size and not like be
Not spill
dangerous
over you.
flapping around, you
Yeah.
know?
'Cause
Yeah,
those water
it's not
skins are
easy.
barely
So
500 mils, and even the bigger water
Yeah.
bottles are maybe 600.
and they get
up to a
really,
litre.
really heavy.
Yep.
Like super heavy, and then you've got to actually step back safely and drink it. Like there, it is difficult. So yeah, a massive shout out to anyone who does bring them. That's why I carry little fruit shoots now. Honestly, they're actually easier.
But yeah, building up to these final few moments of the battle, where basically they pushed out and we're now pushing back. I had gone to about 3 different healers. I was on max hits and max hero points, ready for the retreat. Oops. Chris, do you wanna talk about how this retreat went?
Sure. So in the moments prior, I basically take a shot,
Moments before disaster.
not at Cheeks, but actually at Puck. I
Nice.
miss Puck, and as I'm firing, Cheeks is yelling, "Look out, Archer!" Puck then pirouettes away in a graceful display of agility, and the arrow goes right into the stomach of Cheeks. Cheeks just looks at me, eyes wide in shock, and I look back, totally taking credit for what I have accidentally just done. And then I skitter off into the bushes, feeling like a big bloody hero who's
It's a
conveniently
really
hiding.
interesting feeling, killing your friends, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was so satisfying.
We might need to examine that one another time. But yes, you're right though.
I mean,
Suddenly everything
So,
becomes
are
a
you
little
okay?
bit more competitive because it feels
It's
so
true,
wrong.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
wrong.
Oh yeah, the
I mean, I
Sunday
didn't
was
feel it
scary. They got
on-
their own back.
I did not feel it on Saturday, but I definitely felt that on the Sunday when we were
Yeah, you
not
saved
monstering.
Linda's life. One of
Oh
them,
god,
who
I had
looked a
had
lot
such
like
fun.
Cheeks wearing an orc mask, really went for me. Really, really went for me.
I find it really hard to distinguish people, so I had other people who would come up and I mean obviously when you're the monstering and you know who you've shot, but the other way round. I mean, I assume that the glasses person knew like, oh, that's the same orc, but probably has no idea who you are.
Mhm.
Like just none at all. There are so many people after I'm jumping ahead, but only a tiny bit. I'm sorry. After the whole event, people from Sunday were like, "Oh yeah, I went after you. You got me good." I'm like, sure, I will believe you because that's a great story, but
The
I
red mist has
don't
descended.
know who you are. I
It's
don't know what you look like in an orc mask. I didn't see which one you put on. You know.
It's that. It's also. I'm not gonna lie. As a monster, you probably are more caring about the fight and the enjoyment of the combat. You're less worried about dying.
Yes,
Which is a lot
true.
of what you are. Is your character
There's
is
slightly
going.
less
I
to
just
think
don't want
about.
to die.
Mm.
Kill the Druge because they're my problem. You know.
Run
Uh,
away. Yeah, you're all just
yes.
faceless people to
Un-
kill.
Unfortunately for the Navari on what would have been their right flank, which was our left, as I said, I was on full hits, full hero, going into the retreat.
Oh, did you just?
I
I
just healed
see.
fully up before then,
And you were ready to go.
and it. Well, I don't know if you know much about Navari as a Navar, but there's quite a
Are you?
tendency to
Hang on,
not have.
Sol. Are you LARP-splaining me?
I'm now LARP-splaining
You're
you.
Navar-splaining.
I'm Navar-splaining. I'm
I'm
Jotun-splaining.
sorry. Jotun-splaining.
What Imperial Druge are like.
Yeah, knew it.
They don't have much armor on, and
Yes,
I
no,
had
they
a
do
lot
not.
of armor on, and many a hit.
Many a hit.
And I
When
also
many a hit was
was
given?
ambidextrous, as I usually am.
No, Sol,
I
Ambi, say it
know.
ain't so.
I will
And
not
let's
go.
just say, a very angry Jotun on the flank with a bunch of others around them charging in can cut through cloth and leather like there's no tomorrow.
The sewing machine of
It felt so bad. No, it didn't. It felt
Ornament.
so good. I am so sorry. It was just enjoyable. Especially when, and I think it was a poor Thorn Fang was trying to play dead
A
and
particular
drink a
one.
potion, and I just went, that one's drinking a potion, and just put them down.
Oh my god. Did you act like actual death?
No, I didn't execute. I'm not allowed to execute.
No. But like, did they actually die? Do we know?
I can't remember.
So the Thornfang,
Unfortunately.
of which Cheeks is a member, lost 4 of their members in that battle.
It could have been. Could
Oh
have been.
wow. Okay, yeah,
I
you
can
got them.
confirm it was.
Oh, oops.
The one you definitely didn't kill might have been a Thornfang.
Ah,
But you know
well.
what? That's not your fault. It's their fault.
It's the game, baby.
Yeah.
It's the game.
They didn't hide that potion well enough because I literally said to the orcs around us, "Oh, I was drinking a potion," and then put them down.
Then there's just like a record scratch. Like, you're probably wondering how I got in this situation. And then it just speeds up again as Sol fucking hammers them.
Interestingly, it's a fun little thing. I think we've talked about it before. Larkin played dead at one point, but look where that got her.
Yeah.
Playing dead, very good strategy. As long as you actually look dead. That's
Yes.
all I'm gonna say.
That is actually one of the rules that was clarified is around playing dead on the battlefield.
Oh, what's the clarification?
Well, it was clarified to refs specifically on a sort of internal ref page, but it's quite interesting to know just about how to ref the area and not like outright alert players to someone playing dead. Obviously, in the situation, you physically saw the person like moving and doing stuff. They weren't like playing dead.
Oh,
playing dead.
I had just hit them down to what I assumed was 0 hits,
exactly.
and they were still moving. So, oops.
Yeah, but that is one of the ones that have been clarified a bit.
That's
a couple
cool.
of things like that.
If it's any consolation, I was doing the same as my in-character Farron on the Sunday, which we'll get to. But yeah, I was.
Who would that be consolation to, Sol?
I don't
supposed
know.
to be consoled?
Is Farron still alive?
I don't know. All I'm saying is
equally
wasn't.
murderous.
I wasn't just sharp-eyed because it was Navarre. I was just sharp-eyed this weekend.
Yeah.
And
how about, to make them feel better, Caleb was killed at least 6 times.
That's good.
And came back as Caleb 2.
Yeah,
Caleb.
Caleb, Kabileb, Kasileb, Kadileb.
Glub did not die, and there is a heavy chance that you might get to face him again next event.
Ooh, a showdown! You should do it.
Maybe we should have a showdown.
More nemesis.
If that happens, I will search out the Thornfang and inform them. And we'll have
glasses,
bloody battle.
Beware.
Glasses, and the glasses, man. Whoever you were,
you will find you.
I'll find you. The nemesis has not failed me yet.
Next time.
Yeah.
This is your only warning. Oh man,
the John Wick series. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Instead of killing your dog, I mean, they have just killed one of your friends, but
Kill Bill sirens just start from nowhere.
Oh yeah.
There's an SFX ref there. Everyone's very confused.
It goes
black and white. Halfway down the field. Huh? What's that?
There's something of a past of this though, right? I have to say it felt very similar to when you actually run an event, such as Quiet Gladed Tharunin. I was really interesting monstering then. Yeah, it's an interesting experience. I think it's good fun though. It was good fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing how Navarre fight.
It was so interesting, you know. It was
yeah.
When they were actually attacking, they were actually scary.
But I mean, think about it. This was also certainly I was very interested to see how not completely, but very new leadership handled the whole thing.
Oh, they did excellently for the situation. It was
but it was really interesting. Like, I mean, as a ref, obviously, I get to watch quite a lot. When players first come on the field, you kind of get a bit of a chance to like, look who's there and who's doing this and who's doing that. Oh, they've arranged themselves, and then you get distracted by watching a little bit closer in. But yeah, I was like, there they are, there they go. Look at them go. It was like a little feeling of like, yay.
It's really cool.
The ducklings are free. The ducklings want blood.
And I do believe it was like a complete failure. However, that was not really down to any individual at all.
It was
everyone
was
everyone
was
was fighting
failure.
super well, but the objectives were just a real difficult one to actually organise.
It was what I would call an objective failure, but not an actual battle failure, as in there were deaths, but under the circumstances, especially for Navarre with new leadership and all of that, that's hard purely from the fact that, you know, you get really used to who to send messages to, and that becomes harder. And really,
and also,
they did very well.
Chris was an archer against them. Like, we can't underestimate how bad that is.
Oh man, it felt really good. It felt really good. You know what? The person I didn't get was Gweel. Had a good few pops at Gweel. Did not get Gweel successfully. Kept hitting metal, and I was like, damn it.
Actually, don't. Please don't kill Gweel. I like Gweel.
No. Yeah, I think the battle was one of those cases of task failed successfully.
Glub might have tried. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so Caleb managed to die. Give away the sad letter to a Navarre who looked an awful lot like Puck, and Puck read it, laughed, gave it back.
Oh my God.
Puck has no remorse.
Wow.
I was like, fair, that's hardcore. And then I gave it. Gwen shot me, and gave it to Gwen, and Gwen kept it. But we'll talk more about Gwen a little bit later. A little bit later, indeed. But yeah, overall, 10 out of 10 monstering battle. Fighting against Navarre, awesome. Shooting at them, even more fun. And watching a style of warfare that we've been part of but never been a witness to. That was great.
It was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, if I was gonna monster anyone, I think that would have been a good one to monster, just to use everything that I know that they do and don't do against them maliciously. Train them up a bit, you know? They've got to learn.
Yeah. Heroes die.
Yeah.
You
don't have to say it like that, man.
It's a good thing. Was it?
Hashtag the only Shattersong left laughs.
Yeah, the rest you can't hear us laughing. We've been added in your head. We don't exist anymore. So.
Right, what on earth happened for the rest of Saturday? It was good scrap.
Lord, who
Enjoyed
knows?
that.
Drug
Enjoyed that a
dealing.
lot. You were drug dealing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you recall from Friday, but I was acting General.
Really?
Trademark.
General Shattersong? I thought you were
General
dead.
Shattersong was not
General Shattersong
no,
returns.
General Shattersong returns. Yeah, we can't leave. So
Part two.
that's pretty
Yeah.
much the rest of my Saturday.
Yeah, tent time. You were
tent
playing
time.
tent LARP.
It's time for tent LARP. There are lots of things going on. I enjoyed my time. I'm gonna whip out the cliff notes here because there's really not a lot to talk about. Other than after the fight, I was definitely struggling with the heat and exhaustion, and it was rough. But fortunately, we had like team adjutant of all like
Ooh.
the Navari
There was
tank
quite
gang.
a lot of us back there. Yeah, it was really
was
nice.
good.
Navari
All
tank gang's
being-
really taken off.
Super helpful. So thank you all. That is Tadpole. Someone called Isa, I think, was there. I don't know.
Who's
and
that?
then-
She sounds annoying.
She's
and then
actually
Win.
this super good archer, but I'm good friends with now. Really cool.
Which
Not
we'll
yet.
get
Not at
into
this
tomorrow.
point on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck! Sorry.
We're not there
She's
yet.
she's
Never
only
heard
picked
of
up the
her.
bow once for this point. Don't worry, it comes late.
Yeah, I was just dying of heat. Went for food at some point, and had eye problems, but we'll get to that in a bit. Let's go to Chris.
Yeah,
Over to you, Chris.
I'm really carrying like the activity because there is, being a bull man, I have the there are advantages. Like skin is waterproof, right? So I'm always wearing a hat in the rain. But in the sun, life gets really tough. However, because we know that, we have something called wet bandanas, and you soak it in a standpipe,
Oh
and you
my
stay
God.
lovely and cool.
This
And
was the one thing that saved me as well.
Yeah.
Farron has that green like hood thing made of a very light
Oh
cotton.
yeah, you do. Yeah.
Drench that in water under a standpipe. Put that on my head. I'm saved.
Oh man,
it
Great.
was.
the heat was pretty
Banging.
mad.
I
I can't believe I didn't find my fan until the end of
You
the
didn't
event.
find your fan.
Oh,
The
you
heat-
found it though. Good. I was
Even
worried.
Yeah,
worse
no,
than the
I
heat.
did find it, but like the end of the event.
Even the worst for the heat for me was the hay fever, which was killing me.
Yeah, it looked rough for you.
We'd done a
it
day
really
of it.
did.
And yeah, I'd kind of had enough.
Yeah, that was fair enough.
Hence, just doing absolutely nothing in a tent. So back to the
Mhm.
drugs.
Yeah. So
Carry this.
yeah, wet cloth plus hot day equals relatively active thorn. I've got to say. Don't get me wrong, it was tough, but I actually felt okay. Maybe because I hadn't worn an orc mask earlier that day. So yeah, Lindy, despite being spawned in as a law-abiding citizen who wants to liberate the Saren Grave,
It's unfortunately being played by Chris Anson.
yeah, so it has turned into a fucking drug dealer after the introduction of Chaos Fruits, and frankly, the sheer amount of attention and new friends it earned him, he can't wait to sell more risky things. So I went down and got some
At
of
least
our.
it's an organic transformation to
It is, yeah.
criminal.
Lindy's been
It has been like a normal route. Normal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is event E3 will be event 5 for Linda, so it'll be the same length as Ban.
No.
Ban was killed
oh my...
after 5 events. So Linda's lived the same amount of time now.
Oh yeah, Linda started E2.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway,
So that takes a year for you to turn the best of your characters truly to the dark side. Then is that what we're
I think
hearing?
it's 5 events are where my characters climax, because as we're not going to discuss on the podcast just yet, but I've told you two about my plans for next event, and that will certainly be a climax. But anyway, Axos drugs.
We could stop talking about climaxes now. Thanks.
Well, you just made it dirty. But the 2 Axos drugs, there's blue and yellow. The yellow one is referred to affectionately as cat piss, and the blue one I've
Love it.
forgotten the former name of, so we'll call it tree piss. I don't know what's blue. Polar bear piss.
Not tree piss.
Yeah.
I can tell you that's not blue.
Blueberry piss. There we go. It's kind of like a sticky, golden, sappy.
God, you said that
Is,
with
isn't it?
feeling, Sol.
I did.
Yeah.
I can tell you it's not blue.
From extensive research.
There's one thing I know about tree piss.
It's tree piss.
It's not blue.
See, this is what happens when we record an
I'm
event.
sorry. I'm so tired and
4
delirious.
weeks after.
We've got all these notes
I'm also
and they're
really
fucking
ill,
useless.
listeners. So
You're
I've
ill.
been
I'm
playing-
tired.
I've been playing
I'm
Solitaire
pretty
the entire time. I mean, guys,
I don't know why
E3's
you're
gonna
still
be
listening.
wild.
If you're still listening, it's impressive. That's all.
Yeah,
I'll
well
say.
done.
Honestly,
Thanks for hanging out with
this
us,
thing
guys.
has got progressively more and
We
more
love you.
popular, and I don't know why. Because it gets
I
lower and lower in
Since you
quality.
introduced us, it's
Mhm.
definitely since you introduced. It's the amazing chemistry, insightful commentary, and just weird chaotic times that we have. We have very different events, all three of us usually.
We do.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
It's also because you've got
big
2
range.
seasoned podcast guests
Right.
on your podcast
Let's
now.
not be mean, shall we?
I think at some point we should unionize and start pitching to be upgraded to co-hosts. Just saying, because
Look,
I don't
if you
wanna
want
be
to form a
associated.
union, then you can do that.
I
in
mean,
your own
I
time.
had input into the name change, so I feel like I'm ready for the promotion.
I feel like
Mhm.
you can only become a co-host if you die, right? That's actually how it works.
Maybe,
Well, yeah.
maybe.
Okay then.
But dear listeners,
I'm
I am
ready.
now hiring for 2 new co-hosts who won't form a union. So if you're interested, please send an email to band.shattersong at this is
Please
not an
don't.
email at gmail.
Please text. While you're at
Please
it, text.
069 069.
for employ me,
Employ
and
me
I'll
at.
get back to you.
Oh,
But yeah, anyway.
Sorry, you were talking
Axos
about the tree
drugs.
piss.
Axos
Yeah.
drugs, yeah.
sorry.
So basically,
Sorry,
I
guys.
don't want to sound like I'm actually cool because I'm not. I'm not a cool person. But the Axos drugs are very
No,
mainstream
you
now.
are because you've got a wet
Stop.
cloth on your head.
That no.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You made him do the sigh.
I think I win.
Yeah, that was got me
It
good.
is the sigh.
Got me good.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Axos drugs, keep
guys.
going.
Keep going, Chris.
They're
Come
too
on, we've got to
mainstream.
soldier on.
too mainstream now. Everyone's
think
got. Oh, you
they're
want to buy
about
some
drugs?
cat piss? Oh, I know someone who's selling cat piss. Nobody gives a fuck anymore.
Unbelievable.
And then, do you know what I did? I went and bought some in bulk. I have 50. I have 50 of them coming at next event, right? And we have no idea whether they're going to be interdicted or not, because we might go to war with Axos, and then it will become an illegal substance. So then at that point, boom,
Nice.
Lindir, definitely not a criminal. Thornheart,
Hashtag not criminal
yeah, genuinely not a criminal, hasn't committed a crime in his life yet. But
that he knows.
Hashtag it wasn't a crime before they made it one. Yeah.
yeah, so
Okay,
like
I can
Hashtag it
see
wasn't
that. I can
Lindy.
see the.
I genuinely see it as using it as a because the yellow
Yeah.
one, the blue one is for like if you're terminal, it makes life a bit better. So it's like Giga Marrow Wart, and the yellow one makes you a bit more aggressive and feisty. Not to the same
Isn't
extent
that
as
the
bite.
one that can be condensed down into bite?
Maybe.
Is that find out in play?
That's fine out play.
Okay.
There's definitely not an ulterior motive to acquiring 50 sets of cat piss. But anyway,
Oh.
I see it being used as a as like a battle drug, a combat drug for us before we go through the gate. Because
Oh.
exciting news,
Okay.
I've spent my XP points and I'm now a guide of courage, and I can anoint and hallow things.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I've joined the priest game, and
Nice. Welcome.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about at E3.
yep.
Given the whole Black Scar
The
religion
way,
game
the
stuff.
Black Scar way. Yeah.
Let's go in.
What?
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 There are 9 virtues. The 9th one is vigilance.
What?
And as we know,
What?
so yeah,
What are you even saying anymore?
so yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to using it as basically there's going to be a rousing, pre-battle speech, blah blah blah. Lao is used to give you like an aura and give you protection and role-playing effects, and then also
Well, we need
do some
to we
drugs.
need to have a chat about that because there've been some really cool ideas. Because I am a guide of courage, not courage, pride.
I was gonna say,
I am a guide of
God.
wisdom.
Mm.
Yeah,
Actually swapping out my hallowing for anointing too. So
I was just gonna say some of those are more battle appropriate than others. So, wisdom's
have
probably
you- I'm sorry,
definitely
have you-
useful.
have you read the wisdom anointings?
No, yeah,
My
it's
God.
useful. I
Thank you.
absolutely think that wisdom is also useful. I like the idea of like, oh, pick what you want to be anointed to for
That's
this
not very.
battle. You know
That's not a great display of pride, was it, there, Matty? Of like
Yeah.
immediately being talked
what?
down to and changing your mind. Stand up for
That's
your
not what
virtue.
pride is. That's
Stand
not
up
what
for your
pride
virtue.
is. Pride is not just that. We can have an IC
Oh God,
debate
let's
about
not
that.
do this
I've
on the
been
podcast.
raring to go.
Move
We'll
on.
have an IC debate
Drugs.
about
Back
it
to the
next
drugs.
event. It'll
Why?
be fun.
Oh, are we done?
Uh,
We done with
we
drugs?
done, young man.
Oh, we
No.
done with drugs.
So
Are
basically,
you finished?
I bought like 50 cat piss and 25 blues, and it's basically a stock to keep up the whole drug dealery thing because the chaos fruit thing, very fun. We'll touch on it later, but I've now upgraded my forest to produce chaos fruit as well. So
You owe me one.
basically, Lindir, hey, one is a start.
Did you double upgrade it or no?
No, only single because
No, because you missed the first
I
time,
was
didn't you?
too fucking busy at E1 like a
Ah, it's
dunce.
heartbreaking.
Yeah, but that's the first ever ritual I've had cast on me at Reggio in 6 years of play
Oh, that's what's happened.
But you
individually.
must have had
That's
you
later.
must have had rituals, just not at the Regio, right?
Yeah, that's what I said at the Reggio.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Reggio.
My ears are not working. Don't blame me. Come on,
it's fine.
be kind.
It's fine, Travid. But yeah, Jugs very good, stocked up on it. So obviously, IC you lot don't know this, but OC be confident that if you talk to me, I'll have something to sell you. It might be a fruit, it might be some piss, it might even be some random literal vegetables that I have. There was a mundane parsnip that I sold at the event, and that went down very well.
A mundane parsnip, is that what you sold it as? Hi guys, I've got a
Yeah,
mundane
it's like,
parsnip for you.
yeah, I said, well, I've got some vegetables here, and they were like, yeah, I'll have the parsnip, and that was it.
The rest is history.
Indeed. But yeah, that was my immediately after the battle, but still inexplicably took 2 hours thing to do because it was
Yeah,
very hot.
every time Sol and I, we went out a couple of times for walks and back, as we are also wont to do. You brought that up earlier; it's a great word. And I just every time we only got to somewhere, and I felt like then we were kind of like, "Yep, let's go back." Like we got somewhere and then just left, and that was kind of it. So there was a lot of walking, which we normally do a lot of walking.
It was a lot. It was just way too hot.
Yeah, it was so hot.
And then at some point, like lunchtime.
Oh,
got
and I had
some
my
food.
new boots.
You had your new
So,
boots.
yeah, I have these I bought some amazing new LARP boots as a sort of condolences for my new character, and also congratulations to myself on a job. So I kind of like bought some fancy new boots that are very expensive but very nice. And of course, they are calf high and waterproof and like thickly lined. No, they're not too badly lined actually. But the first event that I had them out at was scorching hot. They were fantastically comfortable, very hot. I was dying. I mean, it was swampy. It was not pleasant.
Did you have to shake
And
out
I
all the salt
refused to
after they
take it
dried
off.
out?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know because they've been sat in your garage since E2.
Oh God. Well, the good news is they'll be dry. The bad news is there'll be a lot of salt in there.
Yeah,
I don't know what.
luckily I'll be over slightly earlier this time, so I can actually go and TLC some of my kit before getting to the event, which will be really nice. But yeah, man, it was drippy. It was very drippy. I remember. Oh no, that's a Sunday thing. Never mind. I will remember it when we get to Sunday.
Oh my God, Chris, you've got so many things on today.
Yeah.
What time was this bourse auction?
So this was almost immediately after the cat piss purchase. So in contrast, where the cat piss wasn't too bad, it was by the forge, I'd freshly watered up. I then sauntered down to the Senate building for my first ever bourse auction because now Lindir is fucking minted. It's at this point where the sun, the day star really starts to pound the field. And in the space of about 15 minutes, I go from feeling fine to very, very dry, very hot, and very sweaty. Now, luckily, I've got water on me and also on my water bottle at my hip, so it's not too bad. But, the bourse auction itself, it started to on time-ish. You know what things like in Anvil, and there's always like a bit of delay getting settled down to things, and people get there early because like you need to be 5 minutes early to be on time. Blah 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 blah. But anyway, very 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 cool experience. Like, thoroughly encourage people to go down and just have a look at like I'm not going to classify myself here, but some of the wealthiest people in the empire casually pull out 200 thrones in cash from their pockets to pay for things that
Unbelievable.
are, below the abstraction layer, but
Uh-huh.
have obviously a big impact with the amount of weirwoods and white granite that's actually entering our economy. So
Yeah.
really cool to see that go down. And then I bid on a
Oh, you mean
seat.
those titles, the boss stuff,
Yeah, so
like
like
how they
I think
work?
it was
Yeah.
Ilium at this. It was like they each
Yeah.
summit. There's a different type of resource. Like white granite is, I don't know, E1, Ilium
Yeah.
E2, Weirwood E3, Mithril E4, as an example. But yeah, this time there was a ministry out. It was the Krudenheimer Trademaster. It's basically a fuck ton of herbs you could buy at bulk
Oh, that
prices.
was. Try again, one more time.
Krudenheimer?
No.
Kidderheimer, something like that.
No.
It has kid in it. K R
Crowd,
double D.
I'm gonna say it in the very British way. Crowdenkenner.
Oh, okay. And
Kenner.
in
Yeah.
the non-British way.
Crowdenkenner.
So anyway, I was at the Kidderheimer auction, and yeah, this the thing is with boss seats is they you can buy them for whatever it goes for, right? It's an auction, but there is also an element of working out how much they're worth in air quotes, because if you bought all these herbs, you basically start to get you know, cerulean mesorin at half. I'm not going to say the actual field price, but you get it for like half what you would usually buy it on the field, and you get it in bulk, like 60 doses. It's big stuff. It's
Whoa.
important, yeah.
Okay.
So it's really impactful. But the thing is, there is a limit to what the actual thing is worth because you've got to buy the seed, then you've got to get the cash to buy the resources from it, and then you've got to sell those resources in their entirety to make profit, right? So this thing is in air quotes worth about
So
12 throne.
complicated. And also, you have to think about what they went for last time, right? Or is that just kind of
Yeah.
not that important
No,
anymore?
it is because there's rampant inflation in the empire. So for this particular one, and I can talk about it because the data's on the wiki. 2 years ago, it went for 4 thrones. 1 year ago, it went for 9 thrones. And that was considered a bit OTT. This time, it went for 16.
Jeez.
So it's nearly doubled in the space of two
Do they
years.
do they start low or do they set a starting price for these
It
things? I
literally
really
starts at
have no
zero.
idea how this
So
works.
one, literally like it'll be 1 crown, 2 crown,
Okay.
3 crown throne, 2 throne,
Oh
three,
wow,
four,
okay.
5. Usually it is done in thrones. Some
And does
people,
someone else run it? Like, is it run by someone saying those numbers, or do people just shout out what they want to offer?
yeah. So it's if anyone's ever watched Bargain Hunt, you'll know what it's like. But there's an
I'm
NPC
literally
from
thinking of Bargain Hunt.
it.
Yeah,
It did feel
trying to
very
figure
Bargain
out.
Hunt, and the red team has found poverty. Uh, but yeah, the
Yeah.
it's run by an NPC. So they'll say, here's what's for sale. Here's what the seat does. Everyone happy? Yes. Can I get 1 throne? And like Lindy and the audience will go 1 throne. Someone will say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 15. It'll go onwards and upwards like that. The one just before the seat I was interested in, that went up to 160 thrones and like 4 crowns. It was but like
Nice.
it started petering out at the 90 point. So there was just two people going head to head, and it was so cool to watch. But anyway, I did not get the seat because my budget was 12 thrones. Went for 16 in the end, but it was a very cool experience to see that much money just kind of going.
Mm-hmm.
And the temptation, I had 20 thrones physically on me. The temptation
Yeah.
just to go 20 and just shut everybody up. It becomes, in that kind of environment, you lose all
Yeah.
sense. It goes out the window
Until
so
someone turns around
quickly.
and goes, "Okay, 50,"
Yeah, it's very much a
and then you
dick swinging
cry.
contest.
Yeah.
It's not. That's maybe the wrong word. It's not but it is very much a competition, and that element
Mm.
could grab you very quickly, and it's very exciting. And everyone else
Well,
is going, "Ooh,
is it
ah,
half magic to some people? Like, is it a thing? Because I know in Highguard they have the benefactors, and obviously the League is well known for like accruing wealth, like prosperity, not prosperity, but like actual wealth, and that's a thing as part of their briefs, I believe.
I
No,
think the
you have
league
no
have
idea.
definitely got cash in there because like you've got Dead Reckoning, life is a competition, and someone's keeping score. But
Ah, okay,
the
yeah.
the auction is just pure bloody contest. It's great.
Yeah, no, I just mean like how they've managed to acquire or why they particularly focus on like acquiring big amounts of wealth in that way. I know that they're also just richer nations because of the things
Yeah,
that they
very
have.
few
They have
Navarre in there.
Chinese.
Very few.
They
People
have all the
thought
Chinese.
I was part of the Senate Guard. I was like, no, I'm here to vote. I was like, do I
I
just
would like to pay for something,
yeah?
please.
I was like, do
And
the
you pull
thing.
out your one measly 20 throne coin. Like you're so proud of yourself, and they're like, "Oh, sweetheart."
Oh, honey, and there's people with
Lovely, yeah.
literally multiple hundreds on them. It was,
Oh God, it's
yeah,
unbelievable.
savage. But yeah, auction, very fun. Genuinely not like despite just whining about it, genuinely not salty about losing. Good experience. It's not worth 16 thrones in my humble opinion. Very cool vibes.
Mm, like a good test run.
Yeah, that takes me from 3 until 3:45 ish. No,
God,
no, it takes me from 2 to 3. Because
I
at
will
this
say
point,
this. Genuinely, this event is one of the hardest to keep track of.
Yeah,
I
I
found
have no
Saturday
idea.
really difficult to put in order in my head, like what happened when.
yeah, my next point literally says in brackets, is this the right time? Like 3 p.m. kind of vibe, dog. Chris can't remember, and that's in my own column, listeners. So,
Yeah,
um,
can't remember
I
anything.
basically get
These were written quite like we wrote these out quite
It was
soon after we got back as
literally
well,
like
like
2 days
2 days.
after.
yeah,
Yeah, and then immediately we already couldn't remember anything. So thank goodness we wrote them down.
yeah.
I
God,
think
can you imagine trying to do it now?
Oh no,
Yeah, but
no,
anyway,
I can't because I
next.
can't remember anything to imagine it.
yeah. Next
I
up,
think
is it
next.
me again?
No, Farron was crying.
Oh,
But this time something was actually in his eye.
ah,
Um,
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
man, that was like yeah, that was not fun.
that was not fun. I didn't enjoy that. Don't know what it was. I think
Got something
something
in
like
your eye.
something in my eye, probably like grass seed or something along those lines type
Yeah,
thing.
it was just looking worse and worse to the point that
Given the
I
fact
think we just
I'm
said, yeah, let's go to
allergic
first.
to well, hay fever, right? Grass pollen in particular. It got very irritated, maybe even scratched. My first proper trip at Anvil to the first aid
Yeah,
tent
I've
to
never
sort me
been
out,
before. How exciting.
and
I had a
it
little
was
wander down.
all very good, very quick. Sorted me out, washed my eye out, gave me some things, and then I think this was actually in between, like MC sessions. So
Yeah, this was
kind of
definitely at
just
some point in the afternoon.
trundled back and basically had a nap after that. This is a very slow day for me, really. Of MC, it being too hot, getting something in my eye, and hay fever really kicking me. So for the sake of this, I'm just having a sleep now. After sorting that out,
We've put Farron to Sim's sleep to make
Sim
the
sleep,
afternoon pass
very much
quicker.
so. Yeah, basically until about 7 p.m.
Yeah,
So, yep.
yeah, the afternoon was. Well, we had
Although
it.
we
I
did get
definitely had a
toasties.
few other things.
We
Oh,
got
we
toasties.
did. Oh my god, I love the Jabberwocky? Jabberwock. Yeah, Jabberwocky toasties. I think I discovered them a few seasons ago, and I missed them last event somehow. And they are the yummiest thing. We're not sponsored, but you know, could be.
Not
If
sponsored,
Jabberwocky
but
was interested, I could go for a singular. Honestly,
the
for a single free
Leamington-based,
toasty, I'd do a lot.
the Leamington Spa-based toasty company, Jabberwocky.
Yeah, well-known feeder of larpers. They're over by God. Oh God,
Empire.
yeah. Oh
But,
yeah,
you know,
you knew them before, you lucky
I did.
thing. All of those years eating that delicious food, and I didn't even know they existed. Yeah, I'm a big fan. It's really nice. It's very yummy. I don't always find it easy to find like good food that's affordable and filling that I actually like and want to eat. So I was delighted to see them back
But a
again.
tuna melt from
Oh
Jabberwocky
God,
hits the spot.
tuna melt from Jabberwocky every time. Every time. That with a London fog
Hashtag
from the tea
not
place.
sponsored.
Yeah.
Not sponsored.
Unless you want us to be.
I'm writing an email as we speak. Hi, please, we're simping
Yeah.
after your toasties. Please give us
Please,
cash.
I just want
We
one
will
free
take sponsorship
toasty.
in toasties, yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think that's
I don't
fair,
want any
yeah.
cash. I honestly, I would kill for those toasties. They're so good.
If we
I
ever
would
get
not.
to that point,
Listeners, I wouldn't list. I would not actively go for a toasty. Or would
I
I?
don't know. Yeah, I think I would. I think there's a few
I'm gonna
times
leave it
when,
as a mystery.
yeah, I see and well, I see hungry, O see hungrier, and someone said, "Hey, Linda, do you want to shoot this person for a toasty?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, yeah, I do."
Yeah, all right then.
Yeah, it's actually kind of
What type
related
of
to what I was
toasty?
doing at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
what is this? What is this next thing on the list,
Well,
Chris?
Yeah,
is this
yeah,
what
it
was this
is.
next?
It is. Yeah, that was the thing.
Right. Well, okay. So I'll preface this because I think there was one small thing that happened first, kind of, or not really. So I was coming back from somewhere and I spotted Chris, and I think I mentioned already that I tried out the longbow on Friday before time in. Maybe I didn't. I tried
Yes.
out Chris's
I
longbow.
forgot the coconut. Damn it.
I know I don't know where my I don't know where my coca is,
Darn.
but the I really liked it. I wanted to try out just using the longbow because I was always a fan of Legolas and I really wanted to try a bow. And Chris was like, "Yeah, all right, you can try it," which was very kind of you. Thank you very much, kind, benevolent person. And I thought it was great. But then I also was kind of I hadn't really liked the magic thing that I did on Friday. I think I already mentioned this before. I hadn't loved it. For whatever reason, I hadn't loved it. And I was at the point of going, okay, maybe I could try something else. And I had really loved shooting the longbow on Friday. So I was determined to try and borrow a bow and get some more practice in, thinking, oh, maybe if I, just want to try it again. I've got a boring afternoon. We'll see what happens. Boring. It's the wrong word for it, but you know what I mean.
Quiet.
And then, yeah, quiet. Uneventful. Nothing planned. So I was like, oh, I'd love to try it again. And I found out, I can't even remember how this happened. I think it was maybe when I was going to borrow some kit from Talus, well, from Ian rather than from Talus, but yeah. Who mentioned that actually, via the Waystone Path, he lends out bows. The Navarchers lend out bows so that people can have a go on them. And just try it out. And that also includes arrows, amazingly. Like, it's a really cool system, honestly. Massive shout out. It must get people, hopefully it gets people like me into the game and that side of the game. So I collared Chris, because I think I spotted you by the standing circle or something, and you were wandering around, looking like you were liable to have 7 conversations if I didn't follow you over to camp. Whining about having another lesson. Like, please, Chris, teach me more bow things. Thank you.
You've jogged my memory. That's exactly what you sounded like and what you said.
That is,
yeah, 100% you.
To quote, I wrote that bit down. No, I didn't write that down. But no one can refute it either. So yeah, I did manage to get you over. I got a bow, got some arrows. We went and tried out the coconut shy next to us. So
We did indeed, yeah.
whoever camped next to us, I think it was just.
Is it? Is it Ashbourne or Entwined Paths? I'm so
No,
bad.
it's not. It's
Entwined
not
Paths.
Ashbourne, but I
It is the
think it's
Entwined.
Entwined Paths. But unfortunately, I didn't recognize them, so I'm sorry. But they had this amazingly made LARP safe target that apparently Ian Talus had made for them for the Navarchus thing. They were using it and they also had set up a really cool coconut shy. Like, it was really cool. They had like a backdrop. They had the bows and arrows. They had the coconuts. It was really well done. Yeah. And also, we used their target quite a lot on Friday. So I was like, I think I owe them some money to now actually use their coconut shy. But it was so cool. We just sitting. We had a little go on using their bows while someone from the Wasteland Path was bringing others. And Chris steps up next to me after I missed like the first shot or second shot or something. And goes, oh, just up a bit and to the left. And ping! The flipping coconut just went straight off the shy thing. I couldn't believe it. I don't think you could believe it either.
I was like,
I think
fuck,
you were
that
genuinely as shocked as I was.
Yeah,
You were
I was like, damn, that actually
what?
worked.
Yeah, one comment and I hit the coconut. I now have a coconut of pride because I'm very OC very proud of myself that
You
I
should
managed
be.
to do that.
Yeah, it's great. It's
It
actually
was
really
brilliant.
cool.
It was so good.
Yeah, I
Um,
think like the work that Ian's done with the Navachas for
the
Antonio
archery,
started,
yeah.
and then Silver, I've forgotten the OC name, but Silver and
I
leadership.
do. I always
I've said this
forget.
before
Yeah.
and I'll say it again. The Navachas are incredibly and dangerously competent, and
Yes,
Mhm.
they are awesome.
setting up these kind of ranges
It's
as
a
well is
real
so
cool
cool.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just it's a cool unit. They work really well together. They've really created something that feels like it's got a brand, it's got a feeling, it's got a vibe. Everything is cool about it.
yeah,
It's awesome. I'm so always delighted when I see them doing anything, to be honest, or hear of them doing anything. So we started with this coconut shy, and most of Black Scar are sort of hanging around, slowly going, oh, that looks fun. Can I also try it? So we're hanging around, playing around with the bows and arrows and the coconut shy, and then the Waystone Path bring over not one spare bow, but three. So
What?
in fact, even four. There was a lot of them. There was suddenly just bows and arrows everywhere. And we were going, okay, cool. I'm getting really into it because there's a little voice in the back of my head starting to go, hey, you know, you have enough like XP with this new character that if you could get good enough, you could just do this tomorrow on the battlefield. And you know, the rest is kind of history because that's exactly what happened. But
Whoa,
I was wanting to
spoilers.
get loads
that
of
is
practice in.
massive spoiler.
Yeah, I know. I thought I'd just get it in there before you could stop me. Anyway,
Phrasing.
then I was trying not to say that, yeah. But yeah, so we did a lot of practicing, convinced some of our friends to walk around with the targets to do some moving target practice. Yes, it was all safe. We were careful, mostly.
Oh, careful! You're shooting.
It was careful.
The arrows are designed to shoot people, and we're shooting people.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah,
it.
and we were aiming at the targets. There were a bunch of us going. We were careful about people around and stopping and moving the arrows, and everyone was learning how to check the arrows carefully and how to knock and how to like shoot properly. And we were getting really into it. Yeah, you were into it too, giving like tips and stuff. My favorite, my second favorite archery teacher. I'll let you have first for now. Came up and showed me how to string and unstring this new type of bow.
What, was this Emerus Edgestalker again, or?
Yes.
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 No, yeah, no. They can take first place. That's fine. Yeah.
Chris, who is awesome. Other
Yeah,
Chris,
two
who's awesome.
Yeah, two Chris's.
It's awesome. It was just a good time. Yeah, and then I can't even remember. Like, we had people walking around, shooting loads of arrows. And oh yeah, you just appeared with a drink or something, and you lurked in a bush, like downrange, and we were like, "Move out the way! You're gonna get shot." Like,
You gave me the warning.
We don't have enough. No, the first time. Are you kidding? Absolutely.
Nah, I was sat by the
definitely did.
tree. I squatted in, and dear listeners, I was a good 3 meters away as the crow flies from a.
You did a little like squat look.
Yeah,
like,
I was taking
hey,
cover behind
come
the
and
tree.
get me.
Yeah, and then you
That
took
was
the
not
bait.
cover. The look on your
the
face.
Bait. You took the bait. And you shot
okay,
me.
it's
And
true. It was bait. You heard it here first. It was bait. I pulled the thing back, thinking, "There's no way I'm gonna hit him.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not gonna hit." Anyway, I hit him.
Coconut style.
And
right?
it was as shocking to me as everyone else, and I think half of us almost wet ourselves laughing. It was so funny.
It was a great shot. And
it was the look on your face of like, wait, what? And our faces of what? And you had, it felt like there was a good, I don't even know how long of a pause, but it felt like there was a good pause where we were like, oh no, Chris isn't going to take that hit. Obviously he knows it's just practice, doesn't matter. And then you suddenly just went, ah, and like keeled over, like, oh, he's taken the hit. What do we do next?
Fucking arm off.
So
I drop to the floor and start to squirm.
The whole Edgestalkers and Thornfang next to it going like, what's happening here? Like, what, are you okay? And we were like, I guess we were still kind of like, are you really playing this? Okay.
Yeah. It's time in.
Oh, man.
You shot me with an arrow.
I know. I mean, you know, kudos to you. You went for it. You didn't have to. You could have said they were blunted practice arrows.
My hits.
Well, they could have been training arrows. There are allowances for it. But yeah, it was really funny.
Nah,
It
it was
was
so
really
fun.
very funny.
And then at
It
that
was
point is
hilarious.
when I started titting around, and you lot shot me good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the right way to put it as well.
Yeah.
It was tissing around. Yeah, so you got healed up by, I think, Roswin, who was
Yes.
no longer Roswin and is now...
A Kikabeo in the league.
Yeah, she's cool now. I mean, she was always cool, but she's now extra cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we just evolved from there. It was just so much fun. We had an absolute blast just hanging out, shooting some arrows,
I
being a
had some
bit
watermelon
silly.
gin. That was it. That's where
Yeah.
you found me. Yeah.
Was it the watermelon gin?
It was watermelon vodka,
Oh
sorry.
my
It was
god.
just a vodka full of... Sorry,
Oh.
a watermelon full of vodka that had soaked into it and then sloshed up and poured into my tankard. It was exceptionally delicious and
That sounds
exceptionally strong.
really nice.
Oh,
That sounds
in the
very
heat?
good.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah. We had some good shots as well on you. It was really fun. There were a couple
Yeah.
of really funny ones. Including one which was a genuine accident where you had been crawling across the ground because of having been hit in the leg, and the people had stopped.
Oh, that was
to refuse
awesome.
to
That was
heal
like
you.
D-Day. That was like D-Day. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
other
yeah.
side of the
He'd stopped
path.
being healed, so you were crawling to the other side, and then just like sat up as an arrow came. What was supposed to be like over you.
Yep.
You went up into the direct line of that. That was amazing.
Between
it
the
was
eyes,
such a good
center of
shot.
the forehead. It was fantastic.
And you just
Was
keeled
that Tiki?
over. Yeah, it was Tiki.
Yeah, it was
It was
Tiki,
so
yeah.
good. It was hilarious. It really was. And then I got you once in the tankard because Tiki, you were doing something. It was like one of the last shots or something. And Tiki just leaned over to me and went, "Go on, get him in the tankard." And I was like, "Yeah, right." Like as if I hit like maybe at this point I was probably hitting like 60% of the shots, which is pretty good, for moving target stuff, having never done archery before. I was really happy with that, don't get me wrong.
That's good.
But there was no guarantee that I was going to hit anything at any given point. So I was like, sure. And then I
Of course you
let
hit.
my beautiful arrow fire. Yeah, as is the story with these tales so far, I did. I just did. I just hit him. In your tankard went sploosh.
Yeah,
It's really funny.
cover me in water and watermelon, and I was like, huh. All right,
Which was just like, what?
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
It was sad.
Yeah, it's
but
like,
it was
well, I had to
really
go. I
funny.
went to fill up my tankard, and now I've got to do it again.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good time. And I felt really good after that, having confirmed that, yes, I can borrow the bow for tomorrow. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I feel like I'm at a really good point. I am absolutely loving the experience right now. Like, this feels like that euphoria that I got when I first used the spear. When I was like, oh, this just feels right. Like, in my hands, I was like, okay. Everything about this is good. So I was delighted to hear that I could borrow it again, like, properly for the actual battle. And that was just totally fine. I was like, oh my god, that's incredible. Thank you. So good.
Yeah, wholesome early afternoon of archery.
Yeah.
To contrast with the next stage of today, I mean, Sol, you've got one more chance to interject before I start my.
No. I haven't been sleeping all of this time. I have been in military council and.
Wait. No,
sleeping.
First, the one other thing that happened is as soon as we finished with the bows, I went and put the bows and arrows back. I came back and everyone in camp went, shh. Go slowly.
Oh, get this. Yeah.
And I walk around the first of the tents, and one of the Black Scar is holding out a pipe, upon which is perched an actual crow.
I was awake for this.
Oh, he was so cool. It was I mean that lost me at least an hour of just being unbelievably fixated on the crow because I'm like that. I'm my screen name on a lot of things is Magpie for a reason. I love corvids so much. So yeah, he was amazing and sat there and we gave him some food and some water and loved him greatly. And he hopped on my shoulder at one point because I think he was trying to get food or something. I don't know, maybe it was shiny. And then he flew away. I miss that bird.
Funnily, we had a blood crow in camp at the time.
Yes, we did. One of the blood crows was there. amusingly looking after the crow who he named Edgar.
Edgar the
For
Crow.
Edgar Allan Crow.
I see.
Even though it's about a raven, but it sort of felt appropriate. I mean, it could have been a raven. I don't know that any of us specifically knew
It was
which
a crow.
particular species it was. It was a crow. Okay, good. I feel better about it now. Edgar Allan Crow makes sense. Yeah, that was good. It was awesome.
Such a wholesome beginning to the day.
It really was. It was followed hard on the heels of leaving camp to, I don't know, go and do something, and immediately hearing the shouts of something else about to go down from one Lindia Thornhart going, guys, quick! At which point I will hand over to you to explain what had just happened.
It is the Chris show this evening.
Yeah.
Everybody. It is.
See, this is what being bald gives you in the sun. It's an extra 4 hours of LARP, apparently. So, I've been approached by Gwen Splinterspear, played by Alison.
Oh my god. I was going on something else.
Oh no,
yeah.
What were you talking about? What have I done?
Bone. But I actually think that the Splinterspear thing, Gwen Splinterspear.
Oh my god, the bone thing happened on a Saturday as well?
Yeah, it did. I think the Gwen thing happened before the archery then.
Might have done. Yeah. Fuck the order. Here's the story. So, fuck the king. So Gwen had approached me, blah blah blah. Approached me on Friday saying, "Hi, I need a bodyguard for a thing. I've got a mysterious invite to a tea party, and there's no other context, but it looks dodge." So I'm like, okay, sure I can do it, but I am a mercenary. And Graham was like, how much? So I said 4 crowns, but 2 crowns if there's a fight. I.e., if I actually get used, it's cheaper. So, just so you know, bodyguards of Anvil, if you base your rates based on action, you'll have a better time, because you're either minted or getting into a scrap.
It took me a second to figure out the math logic on that
one.
Yeah,
like, wait, what? Yeah, deliberately.
Wait, hang on.
Put me in a dangerous scenario, I'll take my payment in the blood of my enemies. Non-dangerous scenario, you better damn well pay me for the drinks I'm going to drink on duty. So anyway, I turn up in high guard, and this bar, is entirely rented out. It's empty. There's the owners, and then there's a fully armoured cataphract. With the medieval beaky helm, like the bird beak, and a big fuck off polearm, who vibe checks me the second I approach. He's like, private venue, move along, citizen. And I'm like, I'm here as a bodyguard, actually. He's like, who are you with? Gwen. Huh, alright. You're allowed to sit outside. And I was like, fucking hey. And he's like, no weapons inside. Leave them on the table. And I was like, oh, I can't, I'm a guard. And he was like, well, you're not going inside then, are you? But very, very cool bit of RP with this nameless high guard cataphract. Yeah. If you listen, you know who you are. Genuinely, really cool bodyguard roleplay. Absolutely loved it. So anyway, we go in. There's a bit of time. Basically, as Anvils want to do, the kickoff to this was delayed by nearly an hour. In the meantime, I go to Faraz. Yeah, so this is
a side quest for
us. Side quest, a skirmish. So yeah, I'm sat around. No, there's 2 skirmishes. Fuck. So Eden comes up to me and he's like, we're short of this skirmish to somewhere. Do you want to come? And I said, sorry, I'm working. And then she just said, I get it, you're a coward. And just walks off. Catching up with Eden after the event, right? She goes over, people ask her, is Linda coming with us? And she goes, give him 10 seconds. And then 11 and a half seconds later, I jog into the back of the queue.
Incredible.
As I sit there, staring at the pub, waiting for Gwen to show up, and I'm like, fuck it. Yeah, Eden, 1-0, well played. It got me good. We go on the skirmish, we kill a bunch of Druge, I think. It was pretty good. It was a solid skirmish. I had my axe with me, so I was just chopping off some limbs and shit. Did a decent amount of looting, and that was it. There was like some ritual stone in the center, and we had to pile up dead Jotun on it actually. Didn't make much sense. We weren't allowed to execute them. We just had to pile up the wounded. But nobody told me until after the skirmish. So I've been going around executing Jotun and looting them. Not great,
Oh,
but
whoops.
that's my fault for not being at the briefing. Admittedly, I literally just hopped on at the end and magically got in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we pop out. Great fun. Waiting around, waiting around. Then at this point, the 5 o'clock skirmish ticks by, and no one really goes on it. So there's a ref who just is stood there, and then he says, "The gate is still open." And I look at it, and there's this guy. I think he's one of the entwined paths, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
Sunnies, was sat near the gate. I just happened to look at him. We
Oh,
looked at each
maybe
other.
one of the Ashbourne?
Yeah, I think it's Paige's partner. I think.
That sounds possible. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we just
I
look
think
at
he's
each
the
other.
fourth Ashbourne.
Yeah, and we just go, fuck it, let's go. So we jog in. It takes us to the border of Feroz, and we meet the Grendel. It's the first time I've seen Grendel monsters in a long time. And yeah, the
Whoa.
TLDR of this is the whole point of the skirmish was to basically bait the Imperials into fucking up and attacking a Grendel outpost. That's why
Ah,
nobody
but
went on it.
you, Chris, have learned your lesson.
Yeah, so I went in ready to kill. Now, luckily, there was some Urizen
Luckily,
on
they
the
didn't have
skirmish.
Ban Shattersong.
Yeah, like, what do you mean, Grendel? I'm like, hey.
Can you imagine if Ban had still been around and you'd have accidentally ended up on a Grendel skirmish to Feroz?
Oh,
It would have
yeah,
been
easily.
unbelievable.
Easily mass cas, easily, because there was only like 6 of us. There was like a couple
Oh, God.
hospital reps and just random citizens. And then Ashbourne, McGee, and I show up. And because I jog in, because the gate's been open for like 10 minutes already. I
Hmm,
jog in and
ready for a fight.
yeah, with an axe and full armor because I'm doing my bodyguarding duty, right? And then they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is he doing?" And nearly cause a fucking flashpoint just by having a little bit of exercise. But yeah, I show up. Not inconsequential RP happens. They were like, "Turn around, fuck off, please, because you're at our border." And we just went, "Okay," and then we left. And they were saying,
Fair
"Oh,
enough.
it's a crown each to cross the border, ha ha." And I'm sat there with my money pouch, going like, "That's easy."
Yeah, right then.
But the thing is, like, where would this go? And the ref is like, it wouldn't go anywhere. So I was like, okay. Unless our characters want to literally disappear from E2, we have to just turn around.
What happened? We've lost at least 6 players. They're currently halfway across Oxford. Don't worry about it. They'll be
They are.
back
They're in for us. They'll
eventually.
be back for E3, potentially as
Yeah,
prisoners, for
they've
bribing their way
become
across the border.
NPCs now.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, so yeah, come out of that, and then at this point, I run into Gwen on her way to the bar. So the timing for this was perfect. It was meant to be 4 o'clock, and between it actually starting, I managed to fit 2 skirmishes in. Very fun.
Nice.
So now we get to the actual meat of the story, dear listeners, and I apologise for that slight delay. But
Like you told
yeah,
us.
I got baited by both Eden and a yawning wide gate. So, naturally things that would get me good. So anyway, we get in, and the rest of the guests have arrived now. Gwen sits down, and me and the other bodyguard, her OC partner, we're sat outside just chatting the shit. Right? It's hot. We're having a drink. They bring us out macaroons and water, and it's actually quite delightful. Very,
Aw.
very like leaguey freeborn vibes, but in Highguard. Of course, the vibe was ruined when Gwen starts to shriek. And we're like, oh fuck, what's happening? It takes us like, there's just shock. So it takes us a few seconds to react. And we get in there, and Gwen's nose is running with blood. She's screaming, "What have you done? What have you done?" And everyone in there is just looking utterly confused and terrified as, the bodyguards and Captain Cataphract kick in the front door. And we're like, what's going on? Um, there is a lot of confusion, but I know what's happened to OC, and I'm not gonna explain it here. I'm just gonna explain purely what Lindir sees. So then what I do at E3 will be entirely rational. So I go in. Our uh, our patron Gwen is bleeding, so we try and get him out. And then as we're trying to get them out, um, Idris Eternal is saying something and smiling very smugly, like very smugly. suspiciously smugly, some might say. Then Gwen goes for them with a knife. Like just pulls out her mage, like her staff. It's not a rod, it's not a full staff, but it's basically it's like a curved club, and starts like wailing on Idris. And we're like, oh my
Oh
god,
my
an
god.
actual assault! And like I step out, this just as she's doing this, I've stepped outside to look around to kind of like clear the area. So in the space of about a second, this has happened. I turn back. Gwen has gone for Idris. The other bodyguard has just set in and gone Venom. So Idris is venomed, and I'm like, oh fuck. And then at this point,
Idris was venomed.
Idris is venomed, yeah. So I'm like, oh fuck, it's got real. It's got real, real quick. And then
Oh, dear.
Tillian of, is it Hurst Hall?
Hurst Hall,
Hurst Hall,
Hurst
thank you.
Hall.
I believe.
Kidderheimer. But but yeah, Tillian has drawn a butter knife and it's like frenzy stabbing Gwen in the back. So I come in and I go, right, lovely easy, cast this belly, swing my axe, cleave right to the unarmored belly, and Tillian, OC, great player, takes the hit like a champ and just slumps into the chair, starting to bleed out as well. And at this point, I'm yelling, I'm like, everyone back out, or I'll cut your fucking heads off. At this point, Gwen has been downed.
Oh, great de-escalation, mate. Great de-escalation.
Yeah, stop killing, or I'll kill harder. So at this point, Gwen is down, so bodyguard and I lift her up, drag her off to the hospital, and she is like wailing. Put her in the hospital. They're asking what's happening. We go like, I don't know. They swift heal her, and then she takes down 2 hospital reps with her mage staff again.
God.
Yeah, and then we're like, fuck. So they're like trying to restrain her. Someone paralyzes her, and then they put her on a bed where she starts to thrash. And at this point, it becomes pretty evident that poison has come into play. Specifically something from the... it's not the Black Gate. It is...
Is it the Druzy one?
What do
It's
you mean?
the other set of poisons. So one is called Virus Lanare. There's Feast for Crows, which is the antidote. And
I
then
don't
the
know
other
what
one
they're
is like,
called.
there's other one that makes you go into a murderous rage, which is what this potion is. Virus Lanare kind of makes you slow, cold, about after 30 minutes it kills you and you turn into a husk. This one makes you hyper aggressive, more and more angry until at 10 minutes you burst into rage, which you're unable to calm down from, and you feel like the only way to solve problems is with violence. So,
Wow.
Gwen's been poisoned with this. And it's, from Lindir's point of view, it's fairly obvious that Idris has done it. Because Idris just sat right next to Gwen, looking smug, with her mug in hand. So anyway, we go back, and we're cornering them, and then fucking Tillian, who is, in my head at this point, utterly irrelevant, losing his fucking shit. He's like, you assaulted me. You're going to kill me. What have you done? I want an immediate apology. And the other bodyguard is like starting to apologize. And I'm like, no, don't apologize. Actually, you were attacking our charge, so we did the right thing. Oh, and shut up. was the logic. At this point, the militia have been fetched and stuff like that. They're trying to like calm things down. And me and Tillian are basically ready to go again. And there's this big bellowing cry of silence from the militia member. And like, that is enough. We will take statements one by one. And then like chastised children who start to file out and they're like, you must all report to the hub to make a statement. And on the way out, the other bodyguard is apologizing, and I'm like, don't apologize to that dickhead. Which did not help things. And then the militia officer's like, enough from you.
You have never, I'll say this with so much love, I don't think you've ever met a situation you couldn't escalate.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
This
I mean, that
is
is LARP.
Original friend of Black Scar until whatever this was.
I never met him. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know this bloke.
I had about 15
I'm sure he's
seconds.
Great.
Yeah, 15 seconds of
I
interaction.
didn't think much of him.
Yeah.
I was all I heard was from you about this guy who was like,
stabbing, crying in the back, attacking someone from behind.
I was like,
cowardly cur.
No.
Yeah.
I'd been friends. I was
chopped.
like, yeah, I'm friends with Blackscar and I'm friends with you lot. You saved me, but this bloke, nah,
Yeah, fuck
nah,
this
never
guy.
even met him.
Yeah.
He can get in the bin.
15 seconds of conversation with him, and I ended up assaulting him. So,
Yeah.
really good first impression.
Well,
So
he did stab someone first. Don't
he
worry.
did, yeah. There's a good,
There's
yeah.
precedent.
No, but yeah, there's a lot more to this Citizen, so I'm not going to let on. Lots of
Yeah.
drama, find out and play. But that was what was seen, what was saw, and what I experienced. Gwen then was treated by the hospital, and straying slightly into Sunday, basically the character was retired slash went missing, and so did the other bodyguard a few hours later.
Oh, I thought she died. She
No,
didn't
she
die.
went technically retired.
Okay.
I think technically retired because the word on the street was Gwen has fled to the Way House, the Splinter Spear Way House,
Yeah.
i.e. characters is not coming back. Obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the bodyguard went missing. So as far as Linda is concerned, right, here's the cliff notes. It looks like Idris Eternal has tried to kill off a rival within Navarre, pretty much succeeded, also killed
Oof.
off their bodyguard, and Linda is next.
God, Linda
Oh, here
has
we
a
go.
way of analysing situations that are quite impressive, especially when you got back and informed us all, and we were like, just say sorry. Just say sorry.
Oh, now
Just
that.
Tillian
apologise.
thing, yeah.
Oh yeah, so, yeah, Tillian's
No, I
apology.
think until I had a private conversation with Dax, aka Kit's new character, I was fully on board of the no. How dare you say sorry?
No,
Don't
it was
dare
there's the
do
no
it.
how dare you say sorry, and I think you caught me when I just woken up as well. So
Yeah.
I was like, I can't be dealing with this shit right now.
Soul feeling the full brunt of this is what it's like when you suddenly hold a title and
Yeah,
everything's annoying.
exactly. I really did feel that. But yeah, it was you came and explained to me, and I went, I totally get it, and you are completely in the right. But like,
Just
this guy's a
apologise
big
to him.
deal. Just say sorry. Like, it's just not the hassle. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
That's a
because he
sensible
was
thing to
he
say,
was
and it didn't
it,
work.
just
It's the
saying.
courageous thing to do.
Just
Apologise
saying,
when you
it
don't mean
wasn't
it.
that you're not saying sorry. It's that his demands were you say sorry, or he will not trade with any Navari.
Yeah,
Was the
do
big
you
Yeah.
want to explain a bit more about that and why this matters so much?
Only that he
has
is a
big
very
money.
proficient broker across the empire and trades a lot within Navarre to get us our building resources and things because he's a very efficient trader. He's also the one that funded our Merc banner and stuff. So there's a little bit of friendship there that Tadpole and I have been trying to keep up. And all it takes is 15 minutes or 15 seconds, sorry, and chat with Linda, and well, there we go, out the window. Brilliant.
Yeah. And you're not the only people who are being affected by this.
Oh, let's say.
No, it's barely us. Honestly, I was mainly talking on behalf of this is like the entirety of Navarre just being
Yeah.
screwed over here because you won't say sorry. Like I totally believe your story, and in any other situation, yes, but come on, it's not worth
I've had
it.
the Senator of Tharunin give me a stern talking to of why this is
Yeah.
important to the nation. And because
Exactly.
Lindir is a stubborn bastard, it's only made me entrench more. So we'll see how that
Which
turns
is
out.
sad because he used to be so good and
Yeah.
humble and kind and listen to things and do what was best for the nation.
Oh,
He's
the
got
last
an
And
part
interesting
Chris
wasn't
take
kept
on
playing
courage,
him.
is all I'll say.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically lots of drama there that is definitely not over. Lots of active plot. And oh boy, I had a slight hint. Obviously, Tilly and it must be said for this whole thing, this was like PvP in Anvil. Loads of checking in, refs were around and everything, so it was all, above board and everything. Very well coordinated, very cool.
And he's a fellow Chris as well, who we do actually know a little bit OC. So
yeah, honestly, Chris's are just the best.
Mm.
Archery and money. Done.
Okay, true.
Yeah.
Done.
Chris does not speak on behalf of the rest of the podcast.
Chris's.
It does not speak for all Chris's.
Got a lot of them. God, that was a
yeah. That
was a title backwards. In fact,
I think I'm therefore am awake. You've awoken me to inform me of this poor news. But I'm rushing off to military council for the evening time.
yeah. Strategy.
I think I'd sent Tadpole there about half an hour earlier, so I was about half an hour late because I was actually having a sleep at that
Because you
point.
actually slept in on first day on the job. Unbelievable.
I had to. I had to. My eye wasn't working. I was wheezing. It was horrible.
Oh,
Yes,
now I
that's
feel
my eye
bad.
doesn't work.
Nothing
It's
was
fair
working.
enough. My eyes frequently stop working, so yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. That's what accidents are
But
for.
with a little bit of sleep, and now that the evening was here, less of the hay fever problems. I think I'd had a quite a bit of water to drink, quite a bit of food. I was ready to go in, enjoy a bit of strategy, bit of fun. I can't quite remember much of it now, given it was 4 weeks ago. But I do remember Kindra was doing some very cool things. Basically saying, "Hey, Wintermark, stop having a problem with executing Jotun. Like, come on."
Yeah.
So
Can we
us
get over
Nefari
it?
were very very cool with that. Big ups,
Yeah.
Kindra. That's kind of the whole cliff notes of that meeting. It was big ups, Kindra.
Woo.
Other things were happening, but it's miniature council. Attend. It's fun ish.
It is.
Is it?
It actually is
Go
fun.
check out the LARP Noobs podcast.
Oh,
where I
fuck
my
you.
talk
God.
about it.
Yeah.
Here we go. We've sold out.
Yeah, no, it was good fun talking. Yeah, miniature council's it's a good game.
And then it kind of wrapped up, and I was free for the evening.
See, that's the thing, Sol. You describe leaving military council as freedom.
I
A, bit
was.
heretical, but B, is military council fun?
Miniature council is fun.
But you like
It's so
you're
much fun.
free.
Hey, look, you can sit down and have a nap in the grass, like behind. You can just sit down. Senate doesn't let you sit down, does it? Does it?
I'm not a
No,
senator.
that's true.
No, I
Look,
just have beef with
the
Senate
real
for not
fact
letting you
was-
sit down.
The real fact was of this. I hay fever. Like genuinely, I cannot describe to you how shit this is.
Yeah,
This
you
is-
were not great.
I suffer really badly from it. And it was a
Yeah.
shit time. So it was more
Yeah.
the fact that I could go and get a drink, and actually moving helps hay fever because it's a really dumb. Allergies are dumb. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
If I'm moving, it takes your mind off it as well. And it was getting into the evening. I could actually breathe, which was nice. So I went and got a drink and basically chilled. I was just exhausted basically.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Very valid.
if I recall, the order in which this happened, because I did join you for the honeypot. So this is with Bone was happening, I think, first.
Oh yeah,
before
I've
Yeah.
got
out
two
of
more
MC.
things to go. Like we only
Yeah,
got to my
Bone was
6 o'clock.
directly, like, immediately after the crow, because I only know this because of where I ended up at what time.
Yes.
And physically, I put the bows back in camp, came back to find Edgar, hang out with Edgar, and then after Edgar flew away, was like literally about 30 seconds after Edgar flew away, I heard the shouting and went out to have a look what was going on. And what did I see? We kind of knew, like, we knew this was happening, but also I remember you mentioning
this the
on
Grimmel
Friday,
Kings?
like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't
I'm
know when
afraid
they're
I have
coming.
two
I don't
more
know what's
things to
going
comment
on.
on before we get to the
Are you
Grimmel.
serious?
Look at the notes.
What? Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So.
So welcome, citizens, to Saturday, an event.
Oh,
An
I went to
entire
the March
event in-
trial. Yeah, okay. Well, you do one, I'll do the March trial, and then
Keep going. I'm
Cool.
still asleep. Let's
Alright,
move.
cool. So
Yeah.
Sol's back. Snap back to.
I only
Sleep
had
time.
one sleep, and it was only 45 minutes. But that tells you that not a lot else was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Something here called. It just says redacted, so I'm not going to talk about it. However, there's a funny
because you
event.
can't remember anymore.
Yeah. I think it's not because anything secret is happening, but because it was just slightly inappropriate. But basically, it's kind of funny, so I'm going to tell you anyway. We got approached
Welcome
by.
to the Shattersong Diaries, everybody.
Yeah,
Where
before
we
get
have some
banned.
semblance of respectability and then throw it out the window.
We
Yeah.
do? Yeah. We try. We don't try.
Well,
We
I'm
try
going
very
to
hard.
try and
Sorry.
succeed right now. So basically,
Go on then.
Greg is a excellent member of our Black Scar family.
Gregory, Willem,
Yeah, Gwillem, absolute unit.
listener of the podcast.
Yeah, and texter of
Of
069069.
You have
Caller
been
of the number.
Yeah. So, yeah, Greg is owed some money by Linda for being a particularly good goon, and also stiping up some cash when Linda needed it, and understandably, Gwillem wanted that cash back when Linda was sat in camp. So very fairly, I gave it to him. I counted out 4 crowns on my knee, and then as he reached for it, I went no hands. Now this was a joke. However, without
Oh no.
less than 5 nanoseconds of a pause, Greg sinks to his knees and starts to gobble these fucking coins off my knee. And he's just gub, gub. And he's
No
like,
hesitation.
okay, I've got to be deadly serious here. So PD put a warning out after last event of don't eat the fizz reps. It's not related to us because we didn't report it, but someone must have. Or someone else has done something similar. Don't eat the fucking fizz reps. They're dirty. They've been on the floor. People have held them in their hands. There's
They
lots.
put out like an actual thing about it?
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh,
don't
I
eat
didn't
I
the
don't
fizz
think
reps.
it's to do with the coins.
It's
I
not.
think it's to do with the very pretty sparkly resources that you can find.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, don't eat the fizz reps. But anyway, so Greg started eating the fizz reps, and I had this mouthful of 25 ring pieces in his gob that he'd scooped in like a dog. Just as this fine Navari Thorn's coming over to invite us on a 6 p.m. skirmish in about 45 minutes time, and he comes in, and from his angle, all he can see is the back of Gwillem's head in Linda's crotch, and everyone else laughing. So it looks very inappropriate. And then I say, turn around and spit. So Greg turns around, looks the Scar in the eye, and then vomits up 20. Vomits up 25 ring pieces, and the guy's just sat there, just eyes wide, of like,
So good.
what the fuck is going on?
Do I really want them on the skirmish?
Yeah, so like, state your business, citizen.
Please
Oh my God.
understand, this really is a minority of events that happen when you turn up to Black Skull Camp. Okay, this is Lindy acting on his own devices.
Well, hang on.
Please.
Well, I mean, I think I'd argue here that this was Greg. This was Gwyneth.
This is
Okay.
100%
Absolutely did not have to do anything apart from take the coins, but just went for it.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Please come say hi. We
need
like
friends.
We need friends.
Yeah. But anyway, so Greg does this. The guy's clearly scared. But anyway, we get invited for 10 slots in a 6 p.m. skirmish, which I lead. I lead the Black Scar contingent, asterisk, on the leading side. So I go in with what I've described in my notes as the reservists, which are basically the newbies.
Yeah, there's like 4 of you?
7.
Okay.
There's me, and then I've
yeah.
got Abby, Tree as my 2IC. I've got Greg with me, freshly buffed up with a load of iron in his bloodstream, and some of the new Blackleaf joiners.
Iron blood.
Literally iron
Oh,
blood.
so
Yeah.
Blackleaf join you. Nice.
Yeah. So we go in,
Yeah.
and the skirmish commander's like, blah 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 blah, and we're just like, I don't give a fuck.
Oh no.
Even though Black Scar get like 3rd in queue, which is great. So it's nice for like our rep is still strong. And don't get us wrong, this is against the Druge, right? So
Well, not so much still strong as has been massively not regrown, but really taken a good bump over the last event.
Yeah, E1 very solid. E2,
Yeah.
we've always had a good rep, but like E1 was when it really became well known. I'd say
I'd
Yeah,
argue
it
this
felt
event
like a
would
sort of-
outside
really...
the MC tent.
Yeah, it felt like a big, like, not, I don't want to call it a new era, but it felt like this
Yeah,
is,
it is a
we've
new
got
era.
back, the
Yeah.
swing has come back.
Yeah.
It's because we're taking everything a lot more seriously again.
Yeah.
And actually
Yeah,
putting
there's
effort.
really good training, and the cohesion was really good, and it feels like now that, like, everybody, apart from maybe a couple of people, have had quite a few events together, that really helps, like, how well we just do in general. because everyone's kind of on board of like, okay, I know how to fight generally. I know how it feels, how to run away and not run away and move around and blah blah blah, all that jazz. So then you can really start drilling, and the drills are really good, and everyone kind of knows their weapons, and no one's got that fear left over of, oh, I'm gonna die, my character's gonna die, that kind of thing. So it does help not having as many green, and the green has started to vanish. Started to weather, some might say.
Yeah, gentrify.
And it feels good.
Gentrification in the woods. But anyway,
it feels
we go
good
on
to
this.
the point that you can even like take a reservist group and still be very cohesive.
Yeah, but it's because Linda Thornhart is one of the best captains in Anvil. TM. So anyway, we go on this skirmish and we absolutely batter the fuck out of these Druze, right? And it's mainly Navarre, and I've got to say, Blackscar saved it because we're in the vanguard. We go in, we step off to the side when we get through the portal. Edric, played by Ben, comes over to try and brief us because I actively ignored everyone in the queue. We're all doing drugs at this point, so we're doing something that's a little bit naughty, and I won't say anything else. But
again, this is the reservists. This is not. Look, God, am I going to have to provide you with some kind of like PR statement?
Yeah, that's what it means to be a public face of Blackscar. Is just a lot of like, yeah, we're not all like that.
We're not all like this, okay? Come say hi.
Time,
we
anyway.
will not be doing drugs or gobbling coins.
Can I add a second caveat then?
This actually might be happening.
Can't guarantee that.
I cannot guarantee the fact that this won't be happening. There's a high chance. And if it is happening, then we're sincerely apologetic. No, we're not. We don't apologize, apparently.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
The statement is just blank. This isn't Blackscar's statement. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
But anyway, we get in the skirmish. We're in the vanguard. I can tell people because this is all OC knowledge and no one saw it. So if you know, you don't. So yeah, we did warming armor, which is an illegal Druze combat drug that gives you 2 hit points and weakness, and it's been banned by the Empire. It's illegal.
You said it's a Druze combat drug? What do you mean?
Yeah, so it's from the double-sided blade family of potions. And if you have a look in there for warming armor, so I went after this because I wanted to make something like heroin. Basically, the role-playing effect is what I was actually after, and it's you feel euphoria that it fades quickly but doesn't quite go away. You also feel an overwhelming urge to be submissive to those who you believe have authority over you.
Oh.
So the idea was to like, hey, I'm your dealer. Talk to me when you want more hits and get people addicted. But as a combat drug, it worked great because I gave all 6 of them extra 2 hit points and weakness, and they all followed me, like good little soldiers, and it was great. It was really good fun. The Druze came out the bush in their usual fashion. They burst from it, and we got charged, and of course Navarre fled. And then I'm like, Blackscar for Larkin, and we counter-charge. Very Lord of the Rings-esque. And there's a great picture of me screaming and swinging my axe from, I think it's Ben Smith's photos. And that's the moment where they attack us. And yeah, they pause. And as soon as you take the initiative off the Druze monsters, that's when you start to win. So we go in, we start hacking them apart. We kill 3 of them. And then this Birdman fucking flounders into the gate in front of us and starts dancing. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? And then he goes, mass repel. So then at this point, we all get blown off our feet. I do the whole, OTT, double backflip, backwards roll bullshit. And everyone else is like falling over and they take it really well. Again, there's a second great photo on my profile that is me about a second after I fall into my ass, and it's just great.
Is there a LARP event where someone hasn't got a photo of you in a compromising position on the floor?
Not yet.
Having done something like a combat role.
Not yet, but one day it'll happen.
Not yet.
One day you'll get just normal photos, Chris.
Nah.
One day.
That's too normal. So yeah, we go around the skirmish, basically like Navarre rally, and we start to batter the fuck out of these Druze. It actually goes quite well. Couple dicey moments.
Can I sidebar very briefly and say that it does bring me so much joy to hear all the Falarkin cool stuff.
No.
It's just nice. It's really lovely.
Don't make Farron cry again. We're already up to 6.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, not
You
sorry.
Larkin, she sucked anyway. I don't like her anymore because I miss her too much, and now I have to be someone else. So Larkin.
Isa's pretty cool. As we said, Isa's more
Yeah,
Black
I
Sky
much
than
prefer
Larkin
Isa.
was.
Larkin was genuinely annoying.
To Lindir or to
Linda. Linda,
Yeah,
Jesus.
we didn't get
Jesus.
along.
No.
It's true. Linda and I didn't, and Larkin didn't get along.
And now we do, which is sad because you know what's going to happen. I've only got like one or two more events max on the
Yeah,
character, and I'm going to die.
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I digress. Skirmish. So yeah, we beat the fuck out of these Druge, and the only condition we came along on was that we had looting rights. So we got to loot every single monster. So we walked away with no casualties,
Nice.
steeped in the blood of our enemies. The Dornish might call it glory, and about, I think, 5 or 6 elixir vitaes and at least 20 plus random herbs. So very, very profitable skirmish for us, and a lot of fun. So shout out to the reservists. You absolutely nailed it. Got loads of good loot. We got out, fully intact. It was great. Honestly, I think it's the best skirmish I've ever been on from like a personal gain point of view.
Wow, very cool.
Apart from the battle on Sunday, but that's for next episode. But more on
I was
that
going to say
later.
we are Sunday episode separate, right?
Yeah, we are. Yep.
My God, too much happened this event.
Yeah, we're currently an hour and 50 minutes, and we're not even at the Grimmelkins.
Well, I think we're there now. I do
go.
nothing
Look at
until the evening.
Yeah, we might need to two-part a Saturday. Sorry, guys.
I think we can get through this. There's like 2 more things, 3 more things.
There's all the night time.
There's the busty rat.
Well, let me just very quickly cliff notes. I was happened to run into what's his character name now? Blue Cap.
Oh,
What's he called?
Dugdale.
Dugdale, Bernard
Mr.
Mr.
Dugdale.
Bernie
Dugdale,
Dugdale,
the,
Imperial Spymaster,
The protagonist of the Empire. The Empire's
the
protagonist.
protagonist formerly known as Whitecap, who had been
Navari Marcher. Sorry, no, you didn't like that.
he'd been leading the expedition to save us from the Athavan on Friday. So I had IC come across him and was very, very grateful. And I have insisted on calling people by honorifics, and I was going, Mr. Dugdale, Mr. Bernie, Mr. Dugdale, Mr. Spymaster, sir, which he thought was very weird and very funny. But he said, "Oh, I'm going over to a Marcher trial. You should come along." And he was complaining about, "Oh, since I came back, there's some people that are saying that I'm, more Navari than Marcher because of, some things that happened and stuff that is going on in game." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll go along, and if you ever need me to talk to you, I'll tell them how I'm alive because of you." And he was like, "Yeah, sounds great. Cool." So I went along, watched the Marcher trial. If you haven't heard of the Hogs Marcher trial, please try and find out in field. I'm sure it's been written up by now. It's amazing. Other people will tell it far better than I did, but I had a great time watching it. Got to chat to some marchers about how wonderful Mr. Dugdale was, which was also hilarious. Met a cool priest who I'm going to try and chat to about Pride next event, I think.
Nice.
Got to hate on the magistrates bit, also fun. For the first time, I saw the Varushkan warding of the camp. I've never ever seen it before, and someone came hurtling up the middle of the marcher area, screaming bloody murder. And the only reason I had any context of what was going on was because someone went, "Oh, don't worry, it's just Varushka." I was like, "What? What is happening?" And they have these like wolves things. I don't know. It's one of those things that I can't wait to ask a Varushkan about in game and find out, organically find out a bit of culture about it. But yeah, Marcher trial, Varushkan weirdness, and then I don't even know what happened after that. I think I just went back to camp and then did the classic, when you're looking for your friends and you do
What are friends?
2 rounds. Oh no, okay, never mind. I've jumped the gun. This is. We've got to get to Grimmelkin time first.
We do indeed.
Did you actually start Grimmelkin time, or did you find out about it at the same time as I did? No, you hadn't you? You'd been fishing.
Yes.
Fishing for Grimmelkin.
So do you guys want to two-part a Saturday, or do you want to go on and cover Grimmelkint
I
and Honeypot?
really don't have that much left, so I don't think it would make sense to
Yeah,
to
there's
part.
less left than I thought because actually the night was
Okay,
not
cool.
very
All
long.
right, I don't want to screw you guys, as I've screwed you, I see. So
It's
let's
fine.
get to the Grimmelkint. So we get to 7 p.m. of Chris's Saturday event. And basically on Friday, I'd announced to the Thorns Council that I was looking for volunteers to hunt for Grimmelkint with me. I've made some traps, and we need to capture them and return them to the Hall of Worlds. Sol proceeded to kill some of them when we were monstering, so I ran out of I didn't have as many volunteers this time
What?
round.
No, it wasn't all me.
Sorry, the Jotun managed to kill some of my
Glug.
volunteers. Next, it will be the sorry, yeah. Next up on that saga, basically I get back to camp and I start getting ready with my. I've made a bolus, which is basically like in films it's like a piece of string with a stone on the end. It's not a sling, but they throw it around people's ankles and it wraps around and they fall
Yeah, they're often
over
with
in
like the
cartoons.
cannonballs or something.
Yeah, that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I basically made something that looked a bit like that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go around actually tripping people up, but the idea was to like role play it with the Grimmelkint and then drag him kicking and screaming to the
Yeah, what did you
Pool of
make it
Worlds.
of, Chris?
I made it out of dragon bone. It's a bandage and
Ooh.
dragon bone, so it had about fucking like 4 thrones worth of dragon bone on it. It was a super valuable fizz rep. Um, very upsetting when we actually meet the Grimmelkint. So we're starting to group up a little bit. We all just, like Anvil just has this way of
Can
getting
I
people
preface this
together.
just for 1 second?
Go on.
Just enough to say that I remember you talking about this before the event, and the plans that were coming out were all of these were like, I'm gonna trap them, I'm gonna catch them, I'm gonna get them back, I'm gonna do that,
Large cardboard box.
we're gonna stop
Yeah.
them, we are gonna, it was all, we don't want them, we want them gone, and how do we get them gone in the most creative, fun, LARP ways? Then we met a Grimmelkin.
We did. So
Ah.
it was a lot of the Thornfang after their recent battlefield casualties, a bit low. So we got them involved. And you guys as well. I don't know if we picked you up at the
Yeah,
beginning.
you picked us up. It was pretty near the beginning. It
Yeah,
depends,
once we
where
got
did
into the
you
middle of
find the
Navarre.
Grimmelkin?
So we found them near the Eternal Family tent.
Okay, yeah, so a little
Yeah.
bit after,
So
but
they were
not
chatting
long
to,
after.
was it Bronwyn's West? I can never say it properly. Bronwyn's Bronwyn's
Bronwyn's
Rest.
Rest.
I'm so
Yeah, that's
struggling.
hard, that.
Yeah. So anyway, we're just gathering at sunset. If I didn't mention in the last episode, I'll mention it here again. They like rough music, so like we just had to make noise and they get distracted easily. They're basically like high lineage briars. They also get along very well with briars, and luckily we had one with us. So anyway, we're all gathering, and then someone points and goes, "Is that one of them?" We turn around, and with a Larry is a Grimmelkint, covered in moss and having a little chat. So we walk over, and we've heard everything on the spectrum here, from they're basically like non-verbal all the way up to they're eloquent and have polite discussions. This one,
Yeah, no
who
one
we will
knows.
affectionately call Moss, was in the middle. So so
Yeah.
basically we go up, we're having a chat, and Hilary, I think we're walking at the point that Hilary's just like, okay, okay. It is Greg and I walk over, and we just squat on the floor next to the Grimmelkint, waiting for their conversation to naturally finish. And then Hilary's just like, I don't know what's going on anymore. The Moss turns to us, and then we start to shake the Dragonbone bolus. Now this immediately gets his attention. And we'd have a little chat, and he's
Oh,
like,
I miss
"Ah,
Moss.
yeah, same." But we say like blah 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 blah. Do you want to come with us? And he's like, "Bone." Points to the bone. So I give him a piece of dragon bone. He eats it, and then he gives me a piece of moss. Now this
Tiny
moss
piece of moss
is,
from his pocket.
yeah, he just pulls it from a little pouch. Now this moss is like aquarium moss. It's not like in-game fizz rep. It's not worth anything. It's fucking moss. So at this point, I look at Greg. Greg looks at me. We look back at Moss. Moss just nods and goes, "Good Moss." And then I realised that it is not time to put this thing back in the Hall of Worlds. It is time to, you know, have some
Okay.
fun. Some crazy crazy band Shattersong style fun. So we start to lead Moss on a merry
Yeah,
trip through.
immediate bonding.
Yeah, we were thinking, oh, do we just go? I said, oh, let's go to the Hall of Worlds. I've got loads of Dragonbone over there, and Moss is like, no. So I'm like, okay.
Not interested.
I'm like, okay, well, let's go in the forest. And Moss is like, okay. So then we start to
Oh,
walk in, and of course the orc drum starts to play. So Moss goes, ooh, what's that? And starts to walk off towards the Imperial Orc camp. And we're like, no, 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 no. And then this is when our rough music kicks in. So we start going, and like banging pots and tankers off trees and making rattling noises.
legitimately.
And there's like
It's hilarious.
15 of us, and it is loud, it is aggressive, and it works. Oh, it works. Moss comes with us, and we bait him through the heart of Navarre, and we're like playing with him, and playing. He's trying to get at the Dragonbone bolus, not like badly, but just would grab for it if we got too close. And then we get to that T junction where if you turn right, you go to Blackscar. If you turn left, you go towards the market. And at this point, I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, you lot hold on,
that's
I
when
need to
I
go
joined.
back. Yeah, I need to go back to camp. I run in screaming, the Grivelkins is here. Run into
You've
my
got a
tent,
dog.
grab a bunch of pots and pans, and then run back out.
Oh yeah, man, I
Yeah.
remember those. I think you just shoved a pot in my direction.
Yeah, I was like, start hitting this. And then we get down. Moss is at the Y junction by the market. And at this point, it really starts to kick off because in the time I've been gone, apparently there's been a little scuffle. And they say Moss attacked one of us for the Dragonbone. Uh, so we start to
Oh no.
oh crikey, we need to lead Moss down down Murder 2 towards Wintermark. So we start doing this and we just start skipping, making Navari rough music and loads of weird noises. And you know what? It was fantastic. The sun was setting,
It
beautiful
was so
scene.
good.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
wonderful.
It was just pure joy as well. It was one of those things where you were like, oh, it's just silly, fun plot that it does have consequence, absolutely. But it's
Mm.
just fun. It's like a love we were all grinning and smiling and everyone was knackered but having a wonderful time. Moss was so pure. And
Yeah,
bear in mind, we just lost my new best friend, Edgar Allan Crow.
indeed.
So I was in the market for a new, like, slightly aggressive wild friend. So I was like, I think I had the same exact expression on my face when I met Moss as when I had met Edgar Allan Crow. I'll be honest. It was the same vibes. I was like, yeah, that one
Oh
is
yeah.
good. That's a good one. We
We
more of that.
and a few more people
We could
start
keep that one.
trading. Like forest, you could get in forest resources now, like you basically. So other people had given them Ambergelt and Beggar's Lie, and he'd just given them moss. So
We
everyone was
managed to
like,
trick.
"Oh fuck,
Oh,
what's
that
going on?"
poor winter marker as well.
Yes, as we get into Wintermark,
Tricked
we
him.
on the way down, one of the another Briars walking past, and Moss just goes up to them. They fist bump, and the Briar's like, "What's
Yeah.
going on?" And then
Love it.
Moss just points at them, points at himself, and he goes, "Moss." And the guy's
Yeah,
like,
he said I think maybe two words, and it was Moss and Bone.
"Yeah."
Apart from when I said, "Is Moss your name?" and he went dead quiet for a while, looked really frightened, and then went, "Maybe." I was like, "Okay, I'm not asking any more questions. You're fine. You're
Yeah,
good. This is great. No
yeah.
further
So
questions."
there's like the fist bump with a Briar. We get down to Wintermark, and I think we're actually, ironically, by Hurst Hall, and someone is playing the
Yeah, we were.
guitar
Yeah.
very well. And Moss goes over
That
to them.
be... Is it Pud? I think it's Pud.
I have
Might be Bud.
absolutely no idea what
I
he's
will
called.
take that guess because I have
He
no
was just
better
the
alternative.
best chase scene guitarist
Oh,
and the
yeah,
best atmospheric guitarist ever. It was just perfect. The
yeah.
stars really aligned on this
They
plot
they
moment.
really did because for once we had like all the Blackscar and all the Thornfang gang in one big
Yeah,
group, and we
it
need
was
to do it often. It
awesome.
was fucking awesome.
It was so much fun.
Yeah,
And then, you randomly pick up the amazing guitarist that like provides the soundtrack for the rest of the thing. It was meant to be.
it
It
was
was
meant
so
to
good.
be because the guitarist is playing with us. We're trying to bait trying to bait Moss away. And we're like, come on, Moss, go. And he points at us and he goes, music. And then he points at the guitarist and goes, nice music.
This is after Chris has managed to convince the guitarist that who says, "Oh yeah, I've got Dragonbone. It's in the thing." We were like, "Yeah, get some. You should give him some. See what happens."
Yeah, so he lost
Totally
some more
knowing what's
Dragonbone,
about to happen,
got some fucking moss, and then
and then was
Abby
like,
goes.
"Oh, okay."
Yeah, Abby goes over and steals him and is like, "Come on, you're coming with us now, kiddo." And we start to
Yeah.
walk around, just towards up to dawn, that classic curve with the big portaloo on it. And then we run into Anwin Stormbroke, who has a little chat with the Grimmelkint, and we're all just in a little group, just kind of deciding which way to go. Then out of nowhere, there's a couple of shouts, and then suddenly the floor is getting very close to me very quickly, as Moss has tackled me to the floor and is
Like
scrabbling.
pounced.
Absolutely floors me to get hold of the dragon bone. It was
Yeah,
and
that
I was like,
unbelievable. It was
Moss
amazing.
has savaged me, and it was these kind of moments where Moss would go from like dead quiet, pure soul to like violent savagery.
Vicious.
It was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, like literally rugby tackled me to the floor, started getting it off me, got it off me, I believe, and then started to run.
So, yeah.
And it's at this point.
Is it worth mentioning that you perhaps know the person crewing Moss out of character?
Not
Yeah,
me personally, but good friend of Eden's.
Okay,
We have
but
spoken
close
to
enough.
that.
Yeah. So it looks like Anwin Stormbroke might have accidentally, deliberately set this particular Grimmelkin on Lindir, and I can't think of any motive for that. But anyway, yeah, Moss savages Lindir, gets the Dragonbone, and starts to run. And at this point, guitarist starts chase music as we all start
Yeah.
to.
He was
we
like
just peg it.
playing along some like nice little thing, and then it was like the moment in what was that movie? Oh my gosh, Road to El Dorado. He was like playing loop music, and then it suddenly got real fast, and we were all like, "Whoa, okay, here we go. This is great."
As once
We're
again,
in a movie now, you know.
it was a film, and once again we're screaming, sprinting down the roads of Anvil through Traders Row as Moss is trying to run. A couple of the other faster ones in the group managed to catch him, get the Dragonbone back, and they're kind of playing catch. Moss is diving from one to another. The guitarist is shredding away. We're all following up with our pan and pot music, screaming, running, and God, it is just wild. Absolutely wild. Very similar
really
to.
Lucky that the sun was starting to. Was it starting to go down?
It's starting to get a little bit dark at this point, yeah. Because it got to the point where, like, do you remember E1 like chasing Captain Parsnip around? That was just you weren't there for that, but that was Chaos Fruit and
yeah,
wacky
I remember
stuff.
hearing about that.
And it's just happened again. So we're chasing poor Moss through Anvil, and we take a sharp right up towards the gate. We get up there, and there's a bunch of people saying, "Don't take them back to the Hall of Worlds. We can keep them. We can keep them." And we're like, "That's lies."
I don't think they said that. Because I don't. I remember them not saying anything about keeping. They had plans. They just all they were saying was, "Don't take them back yet. Don't take them back yet."
But I've got a goal, and it's time to get Moss home.
Yeah, we were like going home, but yeah, we didn't know.
Oh, no, we gotta leave that till the end.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. So anyway, we get Moss up to the Hall of Worlds, and that's where we find the other Grimmelkint, who've also been rounded up in the last 45 minutes, to be sent back home, because they
liked our music.
Yeah, the objective, dear listener, was to get them in the Hall of Worlds and send them back to the Spring Realm. So
decisively as well, decisively send them back. So they would not want to come back again. I think was the wind that it was talking about.
Yeah, the wind was like, if you don't send them back home, they'll basically become pests in forests and start eating your dragon bone and stuff like that. So all forests will take a penalty. Yeah, -1 rank to all forests within the Empire. It was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they were so cute.
They were really sweet.
Fantastic. Just excellent vibes.
Yeah, all the people who were playing the Grimmelkint, like a round of
you guys,
a round of applause.
So good.
Absolutely fantastic.
So good.
Like covered in
I was
moss
like
and,
slightly frightened, but also wanted to adopt a Grimmelkint.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
So we
Like a
get the
slightly feral cat.
yes, yes. It's like when you're walking home, you make a cat friend. It's like that,
Yeah.
where any moment they could just run off, but also
Yeah.
scratches.
But you love them. You're like, come on, walk with us. Walk with us for
Yeah,
longer.
come on. And so yeah, basically more drama ensues around the Reggio. There's four of them now, so we're trying to like capture all of them. We're literally playing keep away at one point by throwing the dragon bone over their head, and eventually, dear listeners, we get them into the Hall of Worlds. And like I'm overheating at this point. We're all exhausted, but it's not over yet because apparently they can come back out the Hall of Worlds any fucking time they want. So it
Yeah.
became it was like SCP containment, keeping them in the Hall of Worlds. So every time they came out, we'd throw some dragon bone back in, and they would follow it. Or they might break out and try to get an Urizen, and then we'd have to rough music them back in. It was exhausting. It was like having like 2-year-old children. And
That sounds
eventually,
ridiculous. I didn't realize it was this much involved.
it was a
Yeah,
good hour and a half.
I think that this was the point where most of Black Scar went off because we couldn't get in the whole world. So we were like, oh, they're in the whole world, so we'll just leave you to it.
Yeah, you
Bye.
guys left, and me and the core team stayed and had to play keep in and keep away with stuff for another 20, 30 minutes, and then eventually they left. Just saw them leaving out the back with their hands up, and just deep down, Lindir suddenly knew that it was all over.
Yeah, you just
um,
knew.
yeah, great fun, great bit of RP. Um, but the surprise twist we found out at the end is that just catching up OC with Moss, that they could have actually stayed with us. That was actually one of the plot points.
Well, it was someone had predicted, one of the plot writers had predicted maybe people would try and keep them.
Yeah, and that was
I don't
allowed
know how it
apparently.
would actually work, but yeah, they were like, yeah, we were hoping someone would keep one of us so we could hang around all weekend. And we were like,
We were like honestly at this point, Moss has become
what?
an immediate surrogate son to Lindir,
Yeah,
and genuinely
Yeah.
devastated. Like we,
yeah.
we skipped that. You know, the writing was
Oh,
on the wall when we passed the Sentinel Gate. They warned us. They gave us a chance,
yeah.
but we ignored
Honestly,
it.
when you told us that, there was screaming, crying. You know, we were genuinely like, are you kidding? We could have had Moss for an entire weekend, and we just didn't know.
So,
Oh man,
yeah, we
it
were all
was
in voice
sad.
chat, weren't we? And I sent
Yeah,
a screenshot of the message Moss had sent me. Took a screenshot of all the green rings around our names, just screaming, and sent it
we were
back to them,
lit
going,
up.
"We're all screaming."
I can't believe it. Yeah,
Yeah, God, that was so
it was
upsetting.
awesome.
And the thing is, so Moss wasn't an Imperial citizen, so couldn't come through the gate. And considering Moss's aggression, that's a real shame because what a soldier they would be.
Take him onto the
Yeah.
field.
However, however, there is a spell in Imperial law that allows you to take non-citizens through the Sentinel Gate for a day.
Oh, and
And
you have befriended him very well.
I have, but unfortunately at this point, well, in downtime, what's happened actually? Moss went back to the Spring Realm, but in downtime of E2, Moss came back to Lindir in Miaran, and they spent the downtime together, working the forest. And the most wholesome part
Very
of
awesome.
this, the most wholesome part, is that the Grimmelkint that were originally going to scourge the Empire ended up giving all forests a +1 rank instead of -1 because they stayed around and they helped.
They
It's
had
really
they
cool.
apparently they had such a nice time with Anvil Imperials that they decided to help. So it
Yeah,
was explicitly because of the experience that all of their Grimmelkind had had in Anvil.
Honestly, I'm gonna say that Winter Marker who lost inverted commas lost for Dragonbone aided
Yep,
this.
yeah, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
But he wishes he has a forest now.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe he does. Who
Yeah,
knows? But
maybe he
yeah,
does.
what a
maybe he
wholesome
does.
end. Like Lindir and Moss spending downtime, planting chaos fruit together because that also got that done
So
this
good.
event. And
Yeah,
I paid Moss in Dragonbone
That's
yeah.
really
because I
cool.
didn't produce any more Dragonbone than usual. At least like from a PD point of view. But I like to think I did. But I just gave it to Moss. Moss just had some. He had little
Oh,
snacks.
Ah.
Yeah,
So cute.
fucking
It's too much.
awesome.
It's too wholesome. Oh,
Yeah.
so
There was a
good.
really wholesome moment also happening on the other side of the field, with a little bit of Black Scar and Orc
Yes.
culture sharing.
Oh, I
Basically,
love
the
hearing
whole
about this.
saga with Tadpole and the cursing had kind of come to an end, and they'd finally met an agreement of because it was the particular event of the orcs. I can't remember. It's not like the long night. It's the like
The night of something?
Night
Night of
of Worth.
Remembrance?
There we go.
Night of
The
Worth.
Night of Worth, where they basically praise things that are worth something, and we wanted to try and, or Tadpole in particular, wanted to try and do something to really kind of, it's basically cement a friendship. And without going into too much detail, because I really can't do the moment justice, but
Yeah.
two Navari and Gralka sat in the garden in the center of the orc camp, basically making an oath of friendship between each other. It was the most wholesome thing. It was amazing.
What a lovely Saturday
Oh,
we all had.
oh,
Like,
this is
that's just so
beautiful.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, the Grauka Tadpole friendship is honestly one of the sweetest, just
oh, it's so
nicest
good.
things.
It's so good.
I love it. I love it so much. It brings me much joy. It's one
Little
of those
frog,
unlikely little little frog, one of
little
those
frog.
unlikely little connections across the field that are just brilliant for existing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So good.
And I think we then actually caught up with you back at camp before. I think we all did head over to the honeypot originally.
Indeed, the best gang house in Anvil. Um, things.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just gonna finish mine off because that's basically it. I did the classic thing, which in Anvil you always have to do 2 circuits around the field before you inevitably find your friends back at camp or somewhere on the field. But it's always it's a 2 circuit system. It just feels like it's always that, right? So I was going, oh yeah, we'll find people. We went, we looked, we did 1 circuit. No, we didn't find people. Um, Okay, well, we got back to camp. Let's go back to camp, see if they're there. Not there. Okay. Well, I'm going to try one more circuit just to see. And then we inevitably ran into everyone immediately. So, it works out. You can find people in Anvil. You've just got to do 2 circuits. And we ended up not going to sort of going to the honey pot. And then heading off and actually getting quite a nice early night sleep.
Yeah, it
I
was
was
pretty sensible.
exhausted. It was a long day.
Yeah.
That's it for
Ended
me.
up in Gin Club, so I actually disappeared from the honeypot.
Boo! Our
I
betters at the
paid.
gin club. Boo!
I paid. This is not anything more than a time for me and Riff to, essentially do what we've done here and have a catch up.
One day you two will
It
go.
really
Your
is
next
Riff and
character is going to
Farron
end up being a general. I can
do
tell
a
already.
podcast, even if we were not recording it. It was really nice just to kind of sit down and catch up with him, catch up with Travid, catch up with Blackjack. Yeah, it was honestly it was a really pleasant end to the evening for me as well. Not because I don't love the honeypot and all that it brings, but I honestly just needed a place to sit down, have a drink, and chill after feeling very hay fevered for the rest of the day. And yeah, it was perfect, lovely as usual, great catch ups. I don't really have much else to say. So, what the hell is the busty rat?
So to finish off my Saturday, dear citizens, my event within an event, there was a very busty rat playing blackjack at the honeypot. So
No, Blackjack. I was talking to Blackjack at the gin club.
two places at once, incredible. So the honeypot. This is not an ad, but the honeypot is one of the finest establishments. The honeypot is one of the
It's definitely
finest
not an ad. You're
establishment.
right.
Shut the fuck up, Sal. I'm trying to earn ourselves at least some kind of IC ad deal, okay?
You want an IC sponsorship from the honeypot
I do.
and an OC sponsorship from Jabberwocky. Hear us.
Yes, please.
Yeah, please. That's what this
Please.
episode is for. It's 2 hours, nearly 2 hours 20 minutes.
We're
That's
just
why we're
planning
doing it.
we're just planning out our E3. That's
Yeah.
what this is for.
So,
We were like, damn, we need more food.
oh yeah, we do. So the honeypot The Honeypot is the finest establishment in all of Anvil, where all of your wildest dreams come true. That is, if your dreams include a, a blackjack dealer who loses the ability to speak because of the laughter of a plasticine rat on the table, playing the game and doing better than the human players, and then also forgetting themselves and describing the rat as busty.
What? When?
So
What
basically,
context?
we're playing blackjack. It's late in the evening. I've had a few drinks, and I'm like, right, I reckon this rat can beat you. I'm talking to one of the players there. So I pull this rat that, of course, Lindy just has in his pocket.
No. Let's be honest here.
Chris
just has in his
Chris
pocket.
has the
That
rat
is
in his pocket, all right.
through and
So
through.
the rat goes on the table, and the dealer's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, the rat can't play. It hasn't got any money. There's no animals allowed." So I put a throne next to its tail, and I'm like, "Can you break that into crowns?" And he's like, "Okay." So the rat is just sat there, just like hitting. He'll always hit and stick, no matter what happens. So he had some really random hands, but he won on a 12 at one point, which is like stupid.
Incredible.
And he was doing better than most other people at the table. There was some rampant cheating going on as well, but it didn't matter because it was like a low stakes game. It was a lot of fun, and the dealer basically was having such a good time that it was just giggling away. And I was, have I ever talked to you two about all of the rat lore, like the rats?
Yes, Chris.
Yeah, good. You know the rat shit. Well, what
I
we
was there when it started.
what we added to the lore this time round was that the rats use as messengers in Holberg, but they run around the sewers, right? So they deliver messages. But the thing is, they don't know where they're going. So you give one a message, and it just disappears. And it just,
You'll never know.
and it'll appear somewhere at some point, but you have no idea when. So it was tickling us so much. And the dealer was like, "That's not how I'd imagine that rat." And we're like, "How would you imagine that rat?" There was a pregnant pause while he regained his breath and then went busty. And then we all just lost it. Like, we absolutely lost it.
Oh man.
The evening just devolved from there. The rat is very famous now within the gambling community. He's also quite wealthy. We're talking about how he's got to feed his 500 kids, and if he goes home with less than 2 crowns, then the kids will start to eat each other. So it became a real, important set of hands for the rat that he lost in the end, and had to go home to his wife and explain himself. But yeah, a very, very fun end to a very, very fun Saturday. There's also a massive redacted, and that's it.
Beautiful.
On Saturday?
Yeah, redacted happened.
You didn't put that.
I know, this is an actual redacted.
Wow.
Yep.
Redacted,
Wow.
redacted.
It's so redacted, it's not even on the list.
Yep.
Impressive.
Shocking.
A certain listener
Now
knows
I
exactly
really
what
want
I'm
to know.
talking about. And it's not Greg, before you ask, it's not Greg. But yeah, redacted. Redacted.
Amazing.
Lindy, do you mind having a word with me for a minute? Redacted. There we go.
Oh, you're
Well,
so
citizens.
tempted to say it, aren't you? I can feel it.
We'll see what
really wanna
happens.
say it.
We'll see what happens. But redacted.
That
And
was Saturday.
That's Saturday.
Yeah, that
Please
was Saturday.
do not kill Chris in the meantime, because we still have Sunday to record.
We do.
But we'll try and do that before
Which we will try
Yeah.
and do. We've got 2 weeks, everybody. I've dated this entirely, but
no.
Chris
no.
doesn't really.
Yeah, you could have just pretended that we'd been having technical problems and that we just hadn't recorded yet.
No,
but
No,
too
it's
late
entirely
now.
my own fault. My calendar's pretty nuts.
It's life.
Yeah.
It's the count. Honestly, we're never going to beat the LARP noobs who did it 2 days afterward. They hit it out that week. They nailed it.
It's because because they've they've transcended. They're no longer noobs. They're just LARPers. They're competent LARPers now.
Well, they're competent podcasters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Self-burn there.
We do go around in circles like 3 times. We love our detail. I will say that. We love our detail. And I hope you listeners at home appreciate the detail. Especially you, Jabberwocky, wink wink, nudge nudge. And the Honeypot, wink wink, nudge nudge. Please.
Please help us.
Interesting
Sorry.
showing your appreciation of the podcast, you
Then
can
please
go
send
to
a
our
text to no, don't.
Black Scar. You can come to Black Scar account with free toasty coupons.
Ooh, yeah.
Just buy us toasties, guys. I just buy me toasties. I'll say anything nice about your group on the podcast. There you go. I put price.
We are
on it.
not selling mentions of on the Dead
You might
Shattersong
not
diaries.
be.
Yeah, you might
I
not
get
be,
toasties.
but the Dead Shattersongs get to choose what happens,
I
right?
see.
Dead Shattersongs, no principles anymore.
Damn. Well,
Everyone likes Isa better anyway. She's cooler.
She is.
She has less morals.
before we see you at E3, we got to see you for Sunday first.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
Try.
it does feel like we've just done the whole event, but we've only done Saturday. That's it.
I know.
We've got a
So
whole
Matty,
other day.
I hope your
Friday.
Sunday was an entire event to wrap this up.
I can't, until I look at the thing, I have absolutely no idea what happened on Sunday. I can't even remember. Oh, we fought on Sunday, didn't we?
We did, which is
battle.
again next time.
Yeah.
Chris, do the wrap up.
Spoiler alert! It was. That's all you get.
Chris,
Cool.
do the wrap up.
Hippity hoppity, it's the end of the podcast.